This page is the front cover of a SEGA Saturn magazine, Volume 4 from February 1997. The main topic asks, what will happen to SEGA Saturn? And highlights Enix potentially entering the SEGA Saturn market, which is causing waves in the new generation of gaming, and discusses strategies from major developers supporting the console in 1997. There's a special report section announcing upcoming games such as Dragon Knight 4, Grandia, Dukusei 2, Daytona USA Circuit Edition, Cyberbots, and Angel Graffiti. A latest SEGA Saturn software flash report section mentions games like Mantis T2, Quo Vadis 2, Advanced World War, Daina Island, Tenchi Muyo, Ryusuke Puyo Puyo Sun, Angelique Special 2, Mr. Bones, and QQ Bakuku. The cover also advertises a complete guide for games like Far East of Eden, The Apocalypse IV, Even Burst Error, and Dynamite Cop. Finally, it highlights an interview with Yu Suzuki, department manager at Sega AM2, focusing on Scud Race and Virtual Striker 2. The cover image features racing game themes with cars and trucks, hinting at the Daytona USA and Scud Race content. This page is an advertisement for the Sega Saturn game, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Second Impression, a scenario-making adventure game scheduled for release on March 7th, priced at 6,800 yen. It highlights the game's use of real-time polygon graphics for battles between Evangelions and Angels, promising smooth, motion-captured animations. The ad mentions a single CD bonus included with the game, featuring bonus tracks by the band Earth Defense Force, including the song Kimi ga Kimi ni Umareta Ryu, sung by Yoko Takahashi. There are screenshots showcasing in-game scenes and character artwork, including what seems to be Renai and Asuka. Below the main game advert, there's an EVA card collection campaign notice, running until June 6th. It details a promotion where buying 2 specified EVA software titles, including Neon Genesis Evangelion, renewal version, released on February 14th, and Neon Genesis Evangelion, Second Impression, released on March 7th, along with application postcards included in each package, allows customers to enter a draw to win original Cardmasters. Purchasing just Neon Genesis Evangelion, Second Impression on its own also enters you into a separate prize draw for special original cards and Cardmasters. The ad also notes the new Century Evangelion package is being renewed and set for a February 14th release at 2,800 yen. This page is still focused on Neon Genesis Evangelion, Second Impression. It seems to be a continuation of the game's promotion, with a large Second Impression title taking center stage. The text talks about how the game's story unfolds and how the gameplay changes dynamically. It mentions that the original movie scenes are powered up and the appearance of new angels. It also poses questions about the nature of God and self-image within the game's narrative. Below this, there's info on original cards that are exclusive to Second Impressions. It highlights that players have a chance to collect these valuable cards through a campaign, and the cards are called Original Card Das Masters. The bottom part of the page shifts focus to an Evangelion real figure that's being released alongside the game. It's described as a realistic figure, about 18 centimeters tall, and posable. It boasts detailed paintwork and easy assembly. The figure is set to release on February 22nd, packaged in blister packs, and priced at 1,980 yen. There are images of the Evangelion figures and their different unit types, Unit 0, Unit 1, and Unit 02, along with lists of what accessories are included with each figure, like pallet rifles, progressive knives, positron rifles, and bazooka. Finally, at the very bottom, it mentions the new Sega Saturn price, stating a suggested retail price of 20,000 yen. This page showcases the Sega Saturn version of Metal Slug. It's boldly announced that this time the battlefield is Sega Saturn, and that the Sega Saturn version of Metal Slug is finally launching. It's being promoted as a perfect port and is scheduled for release this spring, asking players to please look forward to it. The page features a dynamic image of the iconic Metal Slug tank and the character Marco Rossi, ready for action. You can clearly see the SNK and Sega Saturn logos at the top, marking this as an official release for the console. It's exciting to see Metal Slug, a classic arcade shooter, coming to the Saturn. This page is a full-page advertisement for the Sega Saturn game, Zap! Snowboarding Tricks. It's being heavily promoted as an ultra-realistic snowboarding game. The advert uses the word ZAP in a big stylized font, suggesting fast-paced action. It highlights several features, including that it's the #1 snowboarding video game series, ZAP, and that professional snowboarders like Mitsugu Toyokura and Bubbles are involved as supervisors. The game aims for realistic mountain courses and uses 3D polygons for high-quality graphics. Course types include Japanese grand slopes, wide Western American courses, and European steep slopes. There's also mention of half-pipe areas. Trick animations are detailed up to 360-degree spins. Items from popular brands like Avalanche, Maro, Winterstick, and Sessions are available. The advert ends by stating it's a snowboarding action race game for the SEGA Saturn, priced at 5,800 yen, and published by Pony Canyon and Television Tokyo. Overall, it's pushing the game as the definitive snowboarding experience on the Saturn, emphasizing realism and professional involvement. This page is an advert for the SEGA Saturn game Mahjong Emperor Battle Cosplayer. It's advertised as a unique, cosplay-themed Mahjong battle game, bringing together anime and live-action characters. Get ready for 4-player battles, with a large cast of 18 anime characters and 8 idols, all voiced by 3 well-known voice actors. Scheduled for release in April 1997 at a price of 6,800 yen, the advert highlights the game's anime art style with illustrations of the cosplaying characters. It looks like a fun and quirky take on Mahjong, with a strong focus on its cast. This page continues the spotlight on Mahjong Emperor Battle Cosplayer. It emphasizes that all the costumes are the target in this unique Mahjong game. It describes the game as a collector's dream item from the 20th century, tapping into various cosplay trends, from street fashion like Harajuku and Shibuya, to brand names, Cinderella, Kogal, and even anime and game characters. The page details the gameplay flow, stating you'll participate in Emperor Battle Cosplayer as a Mahjong fighter, taking on requests from Nishiogi Kubo Yuko, aiming for victory in 4-player Mahjong matches. Winning gets you costumes, while losing brings unpleasant characters and sends you to the backstreet world. The page also mentions a VIP idol club and acquiring all costumes and titles. Below, you can see the anime-style characters categorized as Moontrap and Venus, with names like Yu, Francois, Yuriko, Miki, Gloria, Kaori Akimoto, Kotono Arita, and Tun Tun. Catchphrases like, "If you win, it's yours," and "Come from anywhere, take it," add to the competitive spirit. Further down, the Vipe Idol Club and Rouge Magic groups are showcased with photos of live-action idols, including names like Mai, Risa Suzuki, Yuri Ayakoji, Mana Fujimura, Yumi Hasegawa, Kyoko Okamura, and Reiko Igarashi. The page is filled with screenshots and character art, highlighting the game's visual style and cast. This page is a full-page advert showcasing Assault Suit Lanos 2. The page boldly declares the game as a perfect fusion of anime and gaming, promising an exciting experience. It highlights the player as a commander leading an assault armor unit through a challenging mission, posing the question, "For victory, what will you lose?" The advert emphasizes the game's scale, mentioning over 50 stages set across diverse battlefields, with a focus on human drama within the story. It's packed with anime-style artwork, featuring the game's characters, both heroes and antagonists. Assault Suit Lanos 2 was slated for release on March 28, 1997, for the SEGA Saturn, priced at 6,800 yen, and categorized as a simulation RPG. The page also lists some of the key staff involved, including the production director, general director, game director, character designer, mecha designer, and music composer. The cast list is also present, naming voice actors for characters like OVVAN, Hilda, DePeon, Toner, and others. You can also see in-game screenshots showing mecha action and combat situations to give you a taste of the gameplay. At the bottom, there are announcements about a cultural broadcast related to the game airing every Wednesday, and details about a radio drama titled Quadrant Discs Night, and other related radio dramas and sound files. They are also recruiting staff for Grams, seeking 2 DCG and 3 DCG designers, sound creators, and other roles within game development. This page continues to showcase Assault Suit Lanos 2. We get the firm release date of February 21, 1997, for 5,900 yen excluding tax. For early adopters, there's a first press bonus of a special card packed with weapon and device data. Sections labeled Warning and Lock On give a technical, cockpit feel. They're teasing new game systems. And incredibly, the legendary Valken mech from Cybernator is going to make an appearance. You can also see in-game screenshots that show off the mech combat. This page is an advertisement for the Japan Game Designer Academy. It's aimed at people who really want to become game designers. They're boasting about having the best equipment and environment to help you develop your skills. They're accepting applications for the April intake of Heisei 9, which is 1997. They offer full-time day courses in game design, with a capacity of 300 students. The courses are split into departments: planning, graphics, programming, and game development research. Planning and graphics are both 2-year courses where you learn about game planning proposals, presentation methods, and practical game creation. Programming is also 2 years and teaches the basics of programming using MS-DOS and Windows, as well as consumer game machine development. The Game Development Research course is a 1-year course focused on practical skills and application, with opportunities to join development teams. They emphasize practical training, with classes of 5 to 6 people working in teams, hands-on lessons with software companies, and individual guidance. For equipment, they're rocking PC98 series, DOS/Versus machines, and PowerMacs, along with peripherals and software. Finally, they've got details on how to apply with application forms available, and instructions on what info to include, like address, name, age, phone number, etc. This page is all about Game Tengoku, Jaleco's popular arcade hit shoot 'em up, also known as the Game Paradise, which is blasting its way onto the SEGA Saturn. They are promoting it as the ultimate shooter experience. The Saturn version boasts some cool enhancements, like fully ported arcade graphics, extra playable characters, a new arranged mode with fresh stages, and enhanced voice acting featuring a cast of 11 voice actors. For die-hard fans, there's a limited Ultimate Pack version on the way, and this includes an exclusive original video with behind-the-scenes footage of the voice cast. Game Tengoku is slated for release in March '97, with 2 package types available: the Ultimate Pack with the video, and a standard normal pack, each priced differently. The advert also lists the voice actors who bring the characters to life in the game, including notable names like Tomokazu Seki and Mika Kanai, among others. This page shines the spotlight on Hypersecurity's Opus, a rather energetic-looking beautiful girl police training game. It's slated for release on February 7, 1997, priced at 6,800 yen before tax. The page highlights the chaotic and fun nature of the game, showing off some in-game screenshots and character artwork. You can see the different voice actresses who lend their talents to the game's characters alongside their photos. They've also announced a few teen media projects, including a novelization from Way, launching January 8th, a special Card Getter manga serialization in the magazine starting in December, and a drama CD coming from Pony Canyon. It's also mentioned at the bottom that a Windows 95 version is also planned for release. This page is all about Simulation Zoo, a game where you get to create the best zoo in the world. It looks like a fun and lighthearted simulation title aimed at kids, based on the cartoonish animal characters like the giraffe, elephant, lion, and monkey featured prominently. There's even a human zookeeper character, and what seems to be a zoo director or manager with a white mustache. The text talks about how zoos are exciting places for children, and how this game lets you take over the management of a zoo. You'll be in charge of things like getting new animals, keeping the park clean, and making sure the animals are well fed. The game emphasizes that the most important job is to make a zoo that everyone loves. The screenshots at the bottom give a peek at the gameplay, showing menus and what seems to be park layout and animal management screens. The release date is clearly marked as February 7th, and the price is 5,800 yen. It's published by GameBank and developed by SoftBank. Overall, it seems like a charming and approachable zoo simulation game, perfect for younger players. This page is a full-on advert for Doom on the SEGA Saturn, billing it as a war-torn non-fiction action series. The page is dominated by really intense artwork of the game, with a Baron of Hell looming large and a zombie marine taking a shotgun blast right to the chest. You can also see the player character looking pretty determined and blasting away. It mentions this is a compilation of both Doom and Doom 2, releasing in February of 1997 for 5,800 yen. The overall tone is definitely pushing the visceral action and bloody combat that Doom is famous for, a stark contrast to the kid-friendly zoo game we saw on the previous page. It's clearly aimed at a different audience, looking for intense, demon-slaying action. This page showcases adverts for two SoftBank game novels. The first novel is titled Toriko, which translates to Geka Mugen Tan Toriko Gaiden, or Moonflower Mist Illusion Tale Toriko Side Story. It's described as a suspense story set in the City of Time and City of the Moon, involving a character named Simon who loses his memories. It is written by Kenji Takemoto and priced at 880 yen. The cover art features a dark, shadowy figure. The second novel is Overblood, which is Overblood Those Who Transcend Species. This one is a science fiction story set in a research lab in Shamayim Labo. It features characters Raz and Miri, who awaken from cold sleep with amnesia and get caught up in the Overblood project. The writing style is described as fast-paced and flowing, written by a 19-year-old author, Takuichi Ishida, and priced at 980 yen. The cover art shows glowing footprints. Both adverts mention they are available for sale and encourage readers to check local bookstores. This page showcases strategy guides, manuals, and fan books for various popular games. The Liglord Saga 2 Perfect Guide, 1100 yen, promises detailed maps, combat strategies, and a prequel story. The Virtua Cop 2 Killer Manual, 1100 yen, offers comprehensive coverage of the game, including character details, stage maps, strategies, secret moves, and a poster. For fans of the Panzer Dragoon OVA, a fan book, 2,200 yen, features character and story details, along with interviews. Additional listings include perfect guides for games like Cyber Troopers, Virtualon, and Super Mario 64, alongside art and setting material collections for titles such as Sakura Wars and Angelique Halo, with many items being reprinted due to high demand. This page is dedicated to Sakura Wars merchandise, featuring two items for fans of the series. The first is the Sakura Wars Setting Material Collection, which seems to be a comprehensive book gathering all the essential artwork and setting details from the Sakura Wars universe. It boasts content from character designs to mecha designs, including unreleased setting materials and information on related goods. This book also comes with a special fold-out poster and character costume papercraft. The second item is the Sakura Wars Secret File, a crydrom described as a sound impact secret file. This crydrom is a SEGA Saturn Magazine Photo Crydrom Maniac Collection Volume 1 and contains a wealth of character and mecha setting materials and CG artwork that wasn't included in the game itself. It's highlighted as a treasure trove for Sakura Wars enthusiasts. The setting material collection is priced at 2,000 yen, while the secret file crydrom is priced at 1,480 yen and is compatible with SEGA Saturn and Windows PCs. This page focuses on the game New Undersea Battleship, a hex-based war simulation game for SEGA Saturn. It's described as a hardcore strategy title, where you command units in a 3-layered map system encompassing sky, surface sea, and undersea environments. The game emphasizes unit enhancement and strategic depth across 17 stages, plus a prologue. The game's story revolves around a conflict with the mysterious Atlantis army, who have launched a sudden invasion of Earth in the year 20XX. You play as Bonri Sakagami from the Ground Self-Defense Force, leading the Ragu fleet against this undersea empire. Gameplay is turn-based, with phases for the Ragu fleet, Atlantis army, and a potential third faction. You'll be managing your forces across hex grids, utilizing units that can be upgraded in combat abilities like attack power, defense, and mobility, and even gain access to new weapon types. The page highlights the prologue stage, titled Contact, which sets up the Atlantis invasion, and the first two stages. Stage 1, Ragu Sightseeing, involves responding to massive UFO attacks on major cities like Tokyo. Stage 2, East China Sea, sees the Ragu fleet aiming to liberate Tokyo, but encountering both UFOs and the Russian fleet in a chaotic battle. Screenshots on the page showcase the hexgrid map, combat engagements, and a large battleship, likely the Ragu flagship. The reviewer seems impressed by the strategic depth and unit customization offered in New Undersea Battleship. The development team behind New Undersea Battleship discusses their approach to creating a unique strategy game, Planning Director Mr. Nakayama emphasizes strategic depth through hex grid unit placement and a layered map system spanning sky, surface, and undersea levels. Producer Mr. Watanabe highlights the effort put into visually impressive anime cutscenes and the use of polygon graphics for map rotation and zoom capabilities. The game features submersible carriers in later stages. The page showcases gameplay with screenshots, including details of the Ragu battleship and its stats. Early stages involve UFO attacks on Tokyo, Stage 1, and encounters with UFOs and the Russian fleet in the East China Sea, Stage 2. Stage 3 introduces a powerful enemy. The developers aim for a visually engaging experience, with a strong emphasis on tactical gameplay. A giveaway of cell animation pictures is also announced. This page highlights the SEGA Saturn game, New Undersea Battleship, Steel Lone Wolf, a near-future war simulation. The page emphasizes the game's epic scale with the tagline, "Its roar shakes everything," and promotes it as a game where passionate battles of weapons unfold in a virtual 3D space. It mentions the game is set in 20XX, where Earth is under attack by a massive UFO fleet, and humanity is on the brink of collapse. The Ragu battleship, described as an ark built by the Imperial Japanese Navy during the Pacific War to save humanity, emerges as a last hope against this threat. The page lists the voice cast, including Tomokazu Seki, Jintaro Horikawa, Junko Iwao, and Kikuko Inoue, and highlights Yoshikazu Yasuhiko as the character designer and Makoto Kobayashi as the mechanic designer. Gameplay screenshots showcase the 3D battles, and the page promises a grand epic narrative with enigmatic and charming characters. A campaign offering a gift to all purchasers is currently running, with details available in store pamphlets. Character portraits of Annette, Arisaka Matetsu, and Arisaka Ku are also featured. This page is the cover of SEGA Magazine, celebrating St. Valentine's Day. It's packed with SEGA news highlighting some big games. Virtua Striker 2 and Scud Race are featured with new and communication versions. Sounds like online play was a big deal. There's also a special feature on SEGA ATP Attraction, which must be a guide to SEGA's amusement theme park attractions. Maybe like Joyopolis? There are smaller sections too, like Special Dialogue, with Yu Suzuki and Sakura Ikehata. Yu Suzuki being the legend behind games like Virtua Fighter and Daytona USA, so that's definitely interesting. There's also a new series starting called Women's Workshop, which is intriguing, and a small feature section as well. Looks like a packed issue for SEGA fans. This page is the contents page for the magazine, diving into what's inside this issue. There's a main feature titled, "What Will Happen? SEGA Saturn?" focusing on the 97 strategies of key game developers in supporting the Saturn, especially with Enix entering the new generation game market. It sounds like a potentially big shift was happening. The page also highlights some featured articles, including a special report with a list of game titles. We see Dragon Knight 4, Metal Slug, Grandia, Dezemon 2, Cyberbots, Full Metal Madness, Mankus TT, Neon Genesis Evangelion Second Impression, Variable Geo, Sakura Wars, Hanagumi Columns, Angel Graffiti, and Gyuwaku Mirai. It's a pretty diverse lineup, showing the breadth of games available on the Saturn. Finally, there's a section called AM2 Research Express Neo, featuring an interview with department manager Yu Suzuki. This piece is all about getting the inside scoop on Scud Race and Virtua Striker 2, which, based on the cover, are clearly major titles for this issue. The image on the page seems to be a character from one of the games mentioned in the contents, possibly Cyberbots given the style. The page provides a comprehensive overview of SEGA Saturn game news, covering recent releases, upcoming titles, and detailed guides. New release title highlights games like The Unsolved, Casper, and various action and strategy titles. Coming Soon Soft previews a diverse lineup including Daytona USA Circuit Edition, Quo Vadis 2, and unique titles like Thousand Year Empire's Dystopia. A SEGA Saturn Soft Complete Guide section offers in-depth coverage for games such as Tentai Musu and The King of Fighters 96. Additionally, the page announces news from SEGA's AM3 Research Division. Finally, a Game Index and Landmark News and Information section provide easy navigation and access to additional features within the magazine. This page is about the sudden closure of Time Warner Interactive, who were Sega Saturn licensees. The article mentions they were responsible for games on the Sega Mega Drive, like Gauntlet and Rampart, and that their closure was unexpected. It states the company was known for unique manuals and promotional materials that were popular with users, and that Atari games became part of the Time Warner Group. The article suggests the closure was due to a decision from the parent company, which is a shame for fans. There's a section with a message from Time Warner Interactive saying they are closing at the end of January and thanking users for their support for their software and manuals. They mention titles like Mega Drive versions of Gauntlet vs. V, which might be Vapor Trail, Hyper Offense Formation, and Osum Possum, likely Clockwork Knight. They hint at reasons for closure being related to corporate issues rather than game performance. The page includes screenshots from games, including what looks like a Gauntlet-type game, showing gameplay with multiple characters and health bars, another top-down perspective game, and a side-scrolling beat-em-up, maybe circa C Rider, showing character sprites and health bars. Finally, there's news about Padu, opening near Osaka Dome in March. It's described as an amusement facility with virtual reality and computer graphics attractions, featuring about 200 amusement machines and attractions such as Aquanova, a 3D motion ride, and QTAG, a new generation laser shooting game. This page brings news that the popular arcade fighting game Last Bronx is getting a live-action video adaptation, directed by Tsutomu Kashima, known for his unique style, and aims to recreate the intense action and atmosphere of the game. Kenji Ino, famous for games like Enemy Zero, is producing a radio program called Visible Radio on Tokyo FM, focusing on entertainment and showcasing various aspects of Japanese city life. Sega is launching a dedicated image editing machine for their Digio digital camera, called Picture Magic, offering features like image composition and processing at a reasonable price. The SESA Awards nominations are announced, with 58 titles across different categories, including Sakura Wars and Nights into Dreams being recognized. Public voting is open until late March, and the awards ceremony will be held in early April at the Tokyo Game Show. Artist Akari Matsura is hosting an exhibition of her henkawaii or strange acute CG art called Kiri Matsura in Tokyo, and attendees who say Kororikan might get a special something. Finally, there are brief reviews for new game and music releases, including Wild Ride, described as a rock debut game, Clover's CD single, The Cool Chic Child, Sonic Skate Surveyor OMG's new single recommended for game music enthusiasts, and My Sweet Valentine's CD single, a perfect romantic release for Valentine's Day. This page is a books review section, highlighting guides and related books for Sega Saturn games. The main focus this time is on Cyber Troopers Virtualon, featuring 3 different guidebooks. There's the Versus Jump Books Game Series Guide, the Famitsu Pros, Ace Pilot Training Textbook, and the official operating manual. The reviews mention things like detailed gameplay explanations, practical tactics, and data for advanced players. Moving on to RPGS, there are guides for Lunar Silver Star Story. One is a general game guidebook covering characters, items, maps, and magic, designed to be easy to use for all players. The other is the Complete Guide, which seems to be a more in-depth, comprehensive guide with detailed scenario explanations and advanced tips. In the Adventure section, they feature the Famitsu Enemy Zero Official Guidebook. It's praised for thoroughly exploring the game's world, covering scenarios, characters, item data, and even interviews with the developers. Lastly, in the RPG section, there's a guide for Tenchi Muyo, Fourth Night Tale, titled Official Setting Material Collection. This one is described as a treat for fans, packed with setting materials, character details, world information, monster descriptions, and event breakdowns, even including voice actor interviews and terminology explanations. In a pickup section, there's also a mention of a Sega Saturn 9697 Year Edition all-software catalog and latest game guide, a comprehensive catalog of Saturn software released between 1996 and 1997, with 662 titles and helpful information for choosing games. This week's Sega Saturn Top 15 Bestsellers chart features new entries dominating the top spots. Eve Burst Error, Adventure, takes first, followed by Daytona USA Circuit Edition, Racing, in second, and Die Hard Arcade, Action, in third. The list also includes titles like Tenchi Muyo, The Fourth Holy Book, Tomb Raider, Fighters Megamix, Enemy Zero, and Shining the Holy Ark. Each game listing provides publisher, release date, price, genre, weekly and total estimated sales, and brief reviewer comments. The article notes that store stock is low due to the end of the year, advising those who missed out to wait for restocks. Eve Burst Error, quickly sold out initially. Daytona USA Circuit Edition received praise for improved visuals and sound, and Die Hard Arcade was lauded for its action and visuals. This page provides a glimpse into the desires of Sega Saturn owners and the popularity of arcade games. The user data top 20 chart reveals the game's Saturn owners most wanted ported, with Final Fantasy leading the pack, followed by Dragon Quest and Super Robot Wars. Fighting games like Dead or Alive and Street Fighter II I also featured heavily, demonstrating a diverse range of fan interests. The article highlights the excitement surrounding potential Sega Bandai collaborations to bring these ports to life. The Shop Data Top 15 chart focuses on arcade hits. Virtua Fighter 3 reigns supreme, while Cyber Troopers Virtualon and Street Fighter X also perform strongly. Samurai Showdown IV and Dead or Alive are popular across both home and arcade scenes. Tokyo Wars, a multiplayer vehicle battle game, is spotlighted as a key title with large-scale battles. Puyo Puyo Sun and Tekken 2 maintain popularity in arcades. The Sega Saturn's upcoming games are generating buzz, with user data top 30 revealing the most anticipated titles. Virtua Fighter 3 leads the pack with 458 points, despite being early in development. Grandia, a highly anticipated RPG, takes second place with 344 points. Biohazard, Resident Evil, secures third place with 308 points, promising a summer release. Other notable games include Neon Genesis, Evangelion Second Impression, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Lunar Eternal Blue, and Sonic the Fighters. Pickup check game highlights Sakura Wars Columns 2 and Cyberbots Full Metal Madness, the latter being nearly complete. Other check! Coming soon! Previews Megs TT Superbike and Final Fantasy Legend, indicating a strong lineup for the Saturn. Reader's Race Volume 39 ranks Sega Saturn games based on reader votes, moving beyond the typical hits. Two tables highlight the results. Oops Table Saturn A features Fighters Megamix, Sakura Taisen, and Fighters History Dynamite at the top, showcasing a variety of genres. Oops Table Saturn B prioritizes different titles, with Batsugun, X-Men Children of the Atom, and 3x3 Eyes, Seima Kurinden leading. The article reviews Heaven and Earth. Tengai Makyu, Daion no Mokushiroku, a highly anticipated new release, noting its visual appeal but criticizing its gameplay and strategic depth. The review suggests the game didn't meet expectations. Finally, Decathlete, Days Grim, a casual stress reliever, surprisingly received a low ranking, leading the author to question evolving reader preferences. Oops Table Saturn B presents Sega Saturn game reviews. Top-ranked games include Batsugun, X-Men Children of the Atom, and 3x3 Eyes, Seima Kurinden. Western Dream, 1999, Pharaoh's Resurrection, is praised for its fast-paced, satisfying 3D action, appealing to adults despite its simplicity. Digital Dance Mix. Anjo Narumi is a two-player dance game with realistic motion capture, enjoyable dance routines, and mini-games. Dai Angel Prediction Edition, featuring cute anime graphics, is a fortune-telling game with mini-games, similar to Yumamiru Kitten Remix. Revolution X offers straightforward gameplay with Queen's music as a highlight, but lacks impact. Bishujo Senshi Sailor Moon Super's Various Emotion features cute animation, but suffers from gameplay issues, described as a CG material collection. This page continues the Sega Saturn game rankings. Now on to Oops Table Saturn C. It highlights Nights into Dreams as the new recommended horse and features a detailed review of the game. The review praises Nights for its innovative 3D action, dreamlike world, and Christmas Nights edition. It emphasizes the unique gameplay of flying as knights and the emotional connection players form with the game. The reviewer appreciates the high-quality visuals and sound and believes it's a must-play title showcasing the Saturn's capabilities. There were also reader comments expressing excitement for Christmas Nights, highlighting its special Christmas theme and additional content. Developer comments talk about the freedom of flight and the emotional experience they aimed for with Nights, mentioning the Christmas Nights edition as a special gift for fans. The page also includes a ranking chart of various Saturn games, but it's mainly focused on celebrating Nights into Dreams, as a standout title. This SEGA Saturn content review highlights several games and features. Daytona USA Circuit Edition is praised for its improved course layout, graphics, handling, and sense of speed, closer to the arcade original. Vision of Escaflowne is teased as a major upcoming title. Readers are polled on Dynamite Deca, Die Hard Arcade. Eve Burst Error is reviewed, lauded for its mature themes, branching storylines, and high-quality graphics, while acknowledging the impact of its removed H-scenes in international versions. The review also details reader participation contests. Readers can submit game reviews to win prizes like memory cartridges and controllers. Another poll allows readers to vote for their favorite software, with additional prizes including Saturn accessory sets. This page is part 1 of a special feature titled, What Will Happen? SEGA Saturn, and features an interview with Hideki Okamura, the Saturn Business Department Director at SEGA Enterprises. The interview focuses on the SEGA Saturn's performance and future strategies, particularly in light of strong competition from PlayStation. Okamura discusses the sales figures, stating that the Saturn reached 4.4 million units sold in Japan by the end of December 1996. He acknowledges that PlayStation is selling well, reaching 5 million units around January 1997, but emphasizes Saturn's steady sales and expresses confidence in the platform. He mentions that Sega is aiming to sell 5 million Saturn units by March and highlights that the system is selling better than initially anticipated. He also touches upon the lack of a killer app software in the latter half of '96, but believes that the Saturn still had a strong lineup and is confident about future software releases. The page also includes a sales ranking chart for the first half of 1996 for Saturn software. Fighters Megamix tops the chart, followed by Sakura Wars, Nights into Dreams, Fighting Vipers, and Street Fighter 02. Other games listed in the top 15 include Enemy Zero, Dungeon Master Nexus, Tokimeki Memorial Forever With You, Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story, The Blue Destiny, Virtua Cop 2, Decathlete, Virtua Fighter Kids, Lunar, Silver Star Story, Langrisser 2i, and Dukyusei If. The next page continues the interview with Mr. Okamura from Sega, where he emphasizes the importance of user feedback and focusing on quality software rather than just sales numbers. He mentions that they are carefully listening to user opinions, especially from core gamers. He discusses the positive reception of Saturn commercials, highlighting research showing high recognition and goodwill, especially among core users, and even surprising demographics like women. Commercials like the Christmas Nights campaign and Denku Sensha Vachilon are cited as examples of well-received advertising. Moving on, there's a section about unexpectedly high positive feedback for Saturn commercials. It's noted that despite not always being flashy, the commercials resonate well with core gamers, achieving high recognition and positive sentiment scores. Examples like the Christmas Nights campaign, featuring a young girl, and the Denku Sensha Vachilon commercial are mentioned as having achieved very positive results in user surveys. Finally, the page highlights the booming network sales for Sega Saturn. The Saturn network service is performing exceptionally well, surpassing initial expectations. Games like Vachilon are driving network usage, and subscriptions to services like X-Band have significantly increased. This success reinforces the idea that network gaming is a key strength of the Saturn, and Sega is focusing on expanding multimedia capabilities for the platform. They see network functionality as a major advantage moving forward, and are committed to developing this area further. Capcom and Hudson shared their strategies for the Sega Saturn. Capcom, represented by Mr. Nagai, focused on porting arcade titles like Biohazard, Resident Evil, and fighting games. Recognizing the Saturn's strength in 2D, they aimed for multi-platform releases, targeting the console's core arcade fanbase and leveraging its RAM capabilities. Key titles included Cyberbots and Versus series games. Hudson, with Mr. Katori, prioritized games for core Saturn users, emphasizing sound, visual quality, and titles that utilize the console's strengths, like Tengai Makyo, Daion no Mokushiroku, Far East of Eden, The Apocalypse IV. Their focus was on creating immersive, high-quality experiences, especially RPGs and adventure games, catering to a dedicated audience valuing depth. SNK and Atlas strategized to expand the Sega Saturn's user base, particularly through RPGs (SNK). Recognizing the Saturn's 2D strengths, aimed to port their arcade classics and develop unique RPGs like King of Fighters, Kyo, to attract a wider audience. Their focus was on quality, challenging gameplay, and strategic marketing. Atlus, with successes like Shin Megami Tensei and Persona, saw RPGs and adventure games as crucial. They planned to leverage the Saturn's capabilities, including the upcoming Devil Summoner, to deliver deep experiences. Atlus closely monitored market trends and consumer feedback, understanding the importance of competing hardware and software for industry growth. This magazine feature analyzes Sega Saturn's prospects, drawing on interviews with key developers from Konami and Bandai. Akihiko Nagata of Konami emphasizes software's role in driving hardware sales, highlighting the Saturn's strength in arcade ports. Konami aims to broaden its appeal, targeting diverse player demographics with titles like Tokimeki Memorial and Gokuju Parodius Da Deluxe Pack. Makoto Asanuma from Bandai discusses Sega is game marketing. Bandai focuses on delivering visually appealing and engaging gameplay, citing Gundam titles for both Saturn and PlayStation, and hints at future releases like Gundam Side Story. Bandai carefully considers platform-specific strengths in its development strategy. The feature also includes panels illustrating both companies' strategies, showcasing anime characters from Tokimeki Memorial and a screenshot from a Gundam game. This page continues the Sega Saturn special feature, focusing on Taito's perspective. Toyota Takumi from Taito highlights the importance of software for hardware success, echoing the previous page's sentiment. He emphasizes Taito's dedication as a software maker, particularly in puzzle and shooting games, and expresses strong confidence in Taito's puzzle game offerings on the Saturn, positioning them as the strongest on the platform. The feature includes a general review section discussing initial industry perceptions, where PlayStation, with titles like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, was seen as the clear winner in the next-gen console race. However, there's been a shift in perspective, with Sega Saturn gaining momentum. The importance of RPGs in this console battle is highlighted, with Sega actively partnering with RPG developers and fostering user support. Taito's Saturn strategy centers on leveraging the console's strengths for puzzle games. The page includes a screenshot, likely from a Taito puzzle game. Taito aims to create titles that truly shine on the Saturn, offering unique experiences. Looking ahead, Feature Part 2 is announced as an urgent special discussion with even more game developers and makers, scheduled for the next issue, releasing on February 14th. The page also previews a roundtable discussion in the next issue, featuring Takada Toshio from NEC Interchannel, Takezaki Satoshi from Sega Enterprises, and Ino Kenji from Wolf Team, focusing on the current state of the industry and future prospects. This page showcases Dragon Knight 4 from NEC Interchannel, highlighting it as their next big simulation RPG for the Sega Saturn. It's clearly an exciting title, flagged as Special Report and recommended for mature audiences aged 18 and over, suggesting adult themes within the game. The page emphasizes the game's opening visuals, boasting newly drawn graphics by Take Masaki. It mentions that these visuals are designed for the Saturn and will feature dragons and well-known voice actors. While only 3 illustrations are shown here, the article hints at a much larger collection of artwork being created. The reviewer expresses anticipation for the final CG version of these visuals, underscoring the visual appeal and story as key selling points, especially the cute girl graphics. The tagline at the bottom, "A feeling of great adventure," further builds anticipation for this upcoming Saturn simulation RPG. Dragon Knight 4, Blood of God lineage sword fighter, Kakeru's ordeal places players in the role of Kakeru, a swordsman prophesied to defeat the demon king Minax, whose actions sealed a space for 3,000 years. As humanity forgets the gods, Minax plots his return, making Kakeru the key to stopping him. The game blends simulation and quest modes. Simulation tasks players with strategically deploying troops, led by Lucifian, to conquer territory. Quest mode allows exploration, interaction, information gathering, and ally recruitment. The game, developed for the Saturn, is about 20% complete and emphasizes visuals. Aimed at Bishujo and simulation RPG fans, it features character designs by Take Masaki, known for his appealing artwork, and enhanced graphics using a high-resolution mode. Screenshots showcase improved visual detail, exemplified by the character Marlreen and Natasha, reflecting the game's focus on visual quality. This page continues the introduction to characters from Dragon Knight 4. It starts by introducing Kakeru and Seele, who are described as the sons of the hero. Kakeru is the main character, inheriting his father's strong sense of justice and adventurous spirit, though he is also a bit reckless. Seele is also a son of a hero, and travels with Kakeru, but he is described as more calm and cool-headed. Next up is Luna, Kakeru's mother. The page describes that she married Yamato and had Kakeru, and the image shows her breastfeeding a young Kakeru. Then we meet Natasha, Kakeru's childhood friend. She is described as having secret feelings for Kakeru, but is unable to express them directly. The text mentions a scene of Natasha and Ito talking at night, and questions what they are discussing. Finally, the page introduces Ito, the mysterious swordsman. He is described as a swordsman from the Raymond Kingdom, who helps Kakeru and Seele, and seems to be popular with the ladies, described as a ladies' man. Overall, this page introduces key characters from Dragon Knight 4, giving brief descriptions of their roles and personalities within the game's narrative, expanding upon the world and characters first mentioned on the previous page. The text introduces several female characters from Dragon Knight, who become companions or are otherwise notable. Nellied, a reliable but flawed, weak magic user, is followed by Marlene, a proud and just elf, Rosalind, an energetic young wizard, and Pandora, a dancing girl seeking revenge, join the group. Twin elves Misifa and Claris, with differing personalities, are also mentioned. Gina, a diligent hobbit girl, and Neptune, a transformed warrior seeking revenge, further diversify the cast. Finally, Ta, a mysterious and skilled cat-tier ninja, completes the introductions. This page introduces more characters from the Dragon Knight universe. We start with Bianca, a princess commanding the Dragon Horse troops, described as princess-like but with a strong will. Next is Marion, a kind-hearted daughter. Helene is introduced as a girl searching for her sister who was captured by the Lucifons, eventually rescued by Kakeru, and described as having a reliable personality. Elinus is a boy who becomes Kakeru's companion, driven by revenge after Marion is taken. Finally, Burgen is presented as Kakeru's father and a saint. The text mentions he is currently a god. The page also has a section titled, Finally, to understand the world of Dragon Knight. It describes the Dragon Knight series starting on PC and becoming a hit, with Dragon Knight I being an RPG, and Dragon Knight 4 focusing on Kakeru's father. It mentions the story takes place in Strawberry Fields, a country of women, with dragons appearing and Kakeru becoming active. Dragon Knight 2 is described as having monster girls turning into good girls, which is a popular aspect. Dragon Knight 2 is mentioned as featuring Kakeru's final battle, and moving away from side-view battles, being a standard battle RPG. There are screenshots for Dragon Knight 2, and Dragon Knight 2 is showing various scenes and character art from each game. This page is all about Metal Slug hitting the SEGA Saturn, and it's being touted as a super faithful port of the Neo Geo arcade classic. They are really emphasizing it's the complete arcade experience at home, calling it hard and comical combat action. It's got that action shooting gameplay with two-player option and requires the expansion RAM cartridge. They are really highlighting the amazing graphics and animation, plus the killer sound, saying it's got all the charms of the arcade version. What's really cool for Saturn owners is they've gone above and beyond just a port. The CD version is packed with extras like a brand new art gallery with over 100 illustrations, including 9 fresh color illustrations just for the Saturn. And the ending theme is getting a vocal version sung by Mina Tominaga. So it sounds like they've really put in the effort to make this Saturn version special for fans. Looks like they're also really pushing the Metal Slug tank itself as the star of the show, describing it as an all-purpose rampaging tank, and showing it off in a bunch of screenshots. The game is slated for release on March 28th. This page is dedicated to Grandia on the SEGA Saturn, really digging into the game's world and setting to help us understand it better. They're calling it a thorough verification of keywords to get to the core of what makes Grandia tick. Apparently, the team is working on it 24/7. The page talks about the game world in 2 sections, New Continent and Old Continent, and the Edge of the World. For the continents, they describe Parm, the main town in the Gala region, as a bustling port city with a history of steam engines. Then, the Edge of the World is presented as a dangerous area past a massive wall, hinted to be tied to an ancient civilization. We also get to see artwork of Justin, Fina, and Sue, the main characters. The page is really emphasizing the detailed world-building and immersive setting of Grandia, showing screenshots of the game's isometric viewpoint and environments. It looks like they're aiming to create a really rich and detailed world for players to explore in Grandia. Grandia's world features a mysterious red, steam-powered aircraft, sparking questions about the end of exploration. The Gariel army, once Pearl's private force, now independently controls the military, managing ancient ruins and creating friction with the wealthy Jewel Foundation, the primary sponsors of the exploration age. The text also explores the Angel Civilization, a long-lost society from over 10,000 years ago, leaving behind massive Gariel army-controlled ruins. Scholars are investigating this civilization and its possible connection to Parmekime's creation myth. Finally, the article introduces spirit stones, relics from angel mythology, representing a pact between angels and humans. Justin's father's discovery of a spirit stone hints at supernatural elements and the ancient history central to Grandia's setting. This page is all about Digimon 2 for the SEGA Saturn, a really cool game construction tool that lets you create your own original shooting games. It's highlighted as a genuine shooting game construction tool, almost like saying, seriously, you can make your own. The article emphasizes how you can design everything yourself, from the Zakos and boss characters to the player's ship and backgrounds. It's aimed at aspiring game designers and anyone wanting to make their dream shooting game a reality. The page showcases the paint and palette tools, showing that you can get hands-on with the graphics. It points out that even if you're not confident in your shooting game skills, this software is for you. It's described as user-friendly, enabling even beginners to easily enjoy creating games. New functions have been added to Digimon 2, not just expanding data capacity, but also making it easier to use than other software on the market. The article mentions the ability to create both vertical and horizontal scrolling shooters, giving you options for your game design. It boasts about stage composition, enemy placements, and boss character designs. There's also a mention of two-plane scroll for dynamic backgrounds. Essentially, it's pitching Digimon 2 as a powerful yet accessible tool for anyone wanting to dive into creating their own shooting games. This page spotlights the new features of Digimon 2, emphasizing its user-friendly design for aspiring game creators. An interview highlights the software's intuitive nature, even for those unfamiliar with pixel art, and its responsiveness to user feedback. The game boasts enhanced data compression scoop, for larger memory-efficient games. A significant addition is the Polygon tool, enabling users to build polygon characters and mecha using pre-made parts, creating a hybrid 2D and polygon game experience. Screenshots provide a visual guide to the gameplay and the new Polygon editor. The overall focus is on empowering creators of all skill levels to develop more impressive shooting games within Digimon 2. This page delves into the world of Cyberbots, Full Metal Madness, and thoroughly examines its VA system, which seems to be a core gameplay mechanic. The article is promoting the Saturn version, highlighting that it will include story mode and voice acting for sub-characters based on fan feedback. Before diving into these new elements, the feature is focused on explaining the main appeal of the game, the VA system. The page describes core combat features like weapon attacks, stating that each VA unit is equipped with weapons activated by the weapon button. There are 8 weapon types in total, used for stopping enemy advances and auxiliary attacks. Weapon gauges prevent constant firing but allow for continuous heat-based attacks. Boost is another mechanic described as movement, using the boost button for forward dashes and mid-air dashes, enabling 2-stage jumps, and boost gauges manage usage. Arm parts are presented as crucial, with durability values. Taking damage depletes this value and when broken limits special moves. The durability is shown by a gauge, and arm parts can be knocked off by consecutive hits, severely weakening the unit. But these lost parts can be reattached. The page includes screenshots demonstrating these features, showing gameplay with gauges and action scenes. Overall, the article aims to familiarize players with the fundamental mechanics of combat and movement in Cyberbots. Cyberbots features variant armor, VAS, versatile combat units built with variable metal. Economic instability means older VA models are still prevalent. The game includes a VA guard system for damage reduction, utilizing barriers and shields, including optical shields. The Cyber X system provides temporary generator boosts for special moves and enhanced attacks, including the area of effect Giga Crash. Navas utilize variable metal for transformations, like dash attacks. The game's diverse stages change with the story, offering varied environments. These include Old Tokyo City Streets, VA Arena, Volcanic Zone, Deep Sea Area, Airport Runway, and Secret Base, each offering unique tactical challenges. This page is all about Manx TT Superbikes coming to the Sega Saturn, and it looks like it's going to be an amazing arcade perfect port. They are really hyping it up, saying it's already showing high levels of completion for the Saturn version. The article shows screenshots directly from the Saturn game itself, boasting about the graphics. They're calling it a complete arcade port with added original modes, which is great news for fans of the arcade game. It's slated for release in March, priced at 5,800 yen. The text talks about the excitement of bringing the arcade experience home to the Saturn and the anticipation for the game's release. It mentions the sound system being a highlight, rocking you from head to toe with sounds from the TT bikes and promising a realistic kickback. The page also looks back at the arcade version of Manx TT Superbike and how groundbreaking it was, focusing on the speed and intensity of the gameplay. It seems like they are really aiming to deliver a top-notch home version that captures all the thrill of the arcade. The next page continues the deep dive into Manx TT Superbike on the Sega Saturn, focusing on recreating the courses from the arcade and even enhancing them for the home console. Here, they're showing off the Laxey Coast course and the TT course, highlighting how they are adding more objects and detail to the Saturn version compared to the original arcade. For the Laxey Coast, they talk about it being designed for head-to-head racing and being a high-speed course perfect for beginners, letting you go full throttle. They are emphasizing the increased number of polygons and objects in the Saturn version, claiming it's better than the arcade and not just comparable. For the TT course, they describe it as beautiful, with forests and townscapes fully recreated. They mention it's technically demanding and high speed, even more so than Laxey Coast. The text points out the varied scenery, from forests to towns, feeling very much like the real Isle of Man TT course. They are clearly aiming to make the Saturn version the definitive Manx TT experience, even improving upon the arcade game's visuals and course detail. This page is an interview with Mr. Shinichi Fuji, a developer of the Saturn version of Manx TT Superbike. He expresses his satisfaction with how well the Saturn port has turned out. When asked about his first impressions of the Saturn version, Fuji-san mentions he felt they successfully captured the feeling of riding a real bike and making a game out of it. He was particularly focused on making the bikes look cool visually, as requested by Sega, and believes they've achieved this. He discusses the differences and similarities between the arcade and home versions, noting that while there are differences, the home version is still enjoyable as a racing game. He emphasizes the importance of interesting courses and highlights that the courses are based on the Isle of Man, incorporating elements like forests and towns. Fuji-san believes the speed and racing feel in the game are well done. Regarding the multi-controller operation, he thinks it feels good. He mentions that the development team worked together effectively, and that he was more involved in the planning and software side of things as a producer. He concludes by thanking the team members, including Mr. Suido and Mr. Nukata, for their excellent work on the software. The page includes screenshots from the Saturn game, showcasing the in-game racing action. Neon Genesis Evangelion. Second Impression, a Sega Saturn adventure game, is set for release on March 7th, priced at 6,800 yen. The game promises significant visual upgrades, with improved animations and polygon graphics for the Evangelion units. New footage showcases powerful EVA battles and solitary Shinji scenes, aiming to excite fans. Screenshots reveal Unit 01, angel battles, and interactions with Misato and Maya. A decisive weapon battle against a rapidly evolving angel is featured. The game emphasizes Shinji's character and internal conflicts, highlighting his relationships with Mayumi, Rei, and Asuka. Thoughtful writing explores these character dynamics. Evangelion music, including tracks like Good or Don't Be, and The Beast, is also included. This page announces the arrival of Advanced vs. G, or Variable Geo, to the Sega Saturn. It's hyped as a hot girl fighting game finally making its way to the console, set for release on March 14th. The standard edition is priced at 6,800 yen, with a limited first edition at 9,800 yen. It's tagged as a versus fighting action game supporting two-player battles. The page highlights that Advanced vs. Brag is an orthodox 2D fighting game featuring 9 beautiful girl fighters. It's designed to be accessible for beginners with simple command inputs for special moves, and boasts style animation supervised by Takahiro Kimura. The game's story revolves around a tournament to decide the strongest waitress in the group, offering a grand prize of 10 million yen and the title of Dream to the winner. The participating fighters are all waitresses, with backgrounds ranging from part-timers to those working in various food industries, each with their own reasons for entering the tournament. Screenshots show off the in-game fighting action and some of the characters. The text playfully asks, "Who is the strongest?" in relation to the fighters. Farland Story: Dance of Destruction is coming to the Sega Saturn. This simulation RPG is a port of Farland Story 2 from the Super Famicom and part of a PC series. This Saturn version offers enhanced features like a soldier system and wide-range magic. Battle scenes feature upgraded CG character rendering. The story follows Ark, now king, facing the Valdis Empire's conquest. Princess Selena, a childhood friend, performs the Dance of Destruction. Players must prevent this ritual and stop the war. The game features 25 stages with turn-based battles and wide-range magic. Strategic gameplay involves commanding allies. New companions join the party through stage events and conversations. The enhanced visuals and strategic depth aim to attract new fans. This page is all about the upcoming game Angel Graffiti. It's still a tentative title though. It's being touted as a real romance simulation from the team behind Kigurashi Orange Road, aiming to capture realistic feelings in a dating sim. The developers are emphasizing a more realistic simulation experience, where you interact with girls through conversations and dates, focusing on understanding their feelings. They've even had female college students as advisors, to ensure the girls' perspectives are accurately represented in the game. There's a first look at Saturn version screenshots, which are said to have improved graphics. The page also details how to get closer to the girls in the game, mentioning dating spots and part-time jobs are important. It seems communication and understanding their reactions are key to success. Interestingly, there are also SD character sprites being added to make expressions more diverse, shown in various scenarios like part-time jobs, school scenes, and even playing games. They look quite cute. Angel Graffiti is a game centered around romance, featuring several key female characters. Natsumi, a childhood friend, is a tomboyish drummer who secretly loves the protagonist. Yayoi is a trendy and popular girl hiding a vulnerable side, struggling to move on from a past relationship. Manami, an intelligent actress, is sophisticated but surprisingly clumsy. Sari, a dedicated but lonely rhythmic gymnast, is emotionally unstable due to the pressures of her training. Misuzu, a fashionable transfer student from a wealthy family, is pampered and believes in lucky items. The game also introduces 2 angels roles, even embodies pure love, kindness, and sincerity. Freya represents passionate love, freedom, and impulsiveness. Eve was sealed away, but is guiding the story while Freya has been resurrected, and they both guide the player in their romantic journey. The next page introduces Gikido, Urban Fighters, a new fighting game. It focuses on a character named Ryuji Samejima, described as a local Yankee type. The page highlights that while previous characters were already revealed, they are now showcasing 2 new playable characters. They are depicted as friends who cause trouble together, despite their contrasting personalities, one being calm and collected, and the other wild and unpredictable. The article mentions the game features 3D fighting on a stage that appears to be set during a school trip. Screenshots show gameplay and character models from different angles. There's a section that details Ryuji's fighting style, mentioning he uses his feet, head, and ground attacks, emphasizing damage and powerful techniques. A special interview section features Yoshikita Nijo from Media Muse, discussing the game's development. He talks about the progress being around 15% complete at the time, focusing on motion and collision detection. He mentions they're aiming to make it enjoyable for everyone who plays Virtua Fighter-style games and are currently in the debugging phase. The listed specs mention it's a Media Muse game scheduled for release in April, priced at 5,800 yen, and supports 3D versus battles for 2 players. This page introduces 2 more characters for the upcoming game. Gikido, Urban Fighters. Following on from the previous page about Ryuji Samejima, the focus is now on a female character named Miyu, and they're calling her Beauty Miyu. It mentions that her design is based on the concept of a kogel, which was a trendy schoolgirl fashion style at the time, emphasizing a slightly rebellious and fashionable look. The page details Miyu's background, saying she's usually laid back, but reveals a tougher side in fights, which is reflected in her one-legged giant swing wrestling move. There are developer comments explaining her character design process, moving from sketches to the final 3D model. They talk about refining her animations, especially for grappling and throwing techniques, aiming for realistic and impactful moves. Screenshots showcase her wrestling-style moves in action. The developers mention wanting to create a game that's fun and enjoyable, drawing inspiration from fighting games like Virtua Fighter, and they are working hard to refine the gameplay and animations before its release. This page is all about upcoming Sega Saturn games, split into two main sections. The top section is New Release Titles, and it's promoting a bunch of games that are newly available. It mentions The Unsolved, Casper, Phantom Black Bus, Tokimeki Memorial Selection, Fujisaki Shiori Volume 1 Rainbow Colored Youth, Guardian Force, Voice Fantasia, Lost Voice Power, Tokyo Shadow, Monster Slider, NBA Jam Extreme, Space Jam, and Civilization, The New World History. The text highlights that there's a great lineup of new Sega Saturn software, and mentions noteworthy first-time titles. Below the car image, the page transitions to Coming Soon Soft, focusing on games that are about to be released. It says collection of recent topics of conversation, hyping up games expected soon. The games listed here are Daytona USA, Circuit Edition, Quo Vadis 2, Messenger from the Distant Star, Advanced World War, Thousand Years Empire's Dazzling, Tenchi Muyo, really? Daytona USA, Puyo Puyo Sun, Angelique Special 2, Dark Hunter, Heavy Metal Thunder, Doki Doki Pretty League 2, Mr. Bones, Kira Kira Star Road, Simulation Zoo, New Theme Park, Hop Step Idol, Dragon Master Silk, Strange Sato Tale, Wolfgang Concerto 2001, SS, Game Tengoku, and Planet Joker. The image in the center is of the Hornet car from Daytona USA, showcasing the racing game theme, and likely promoting Daytona USA Circuit Edition in the Coming Soon section. Overall, this page is a preview of both recently released and highly anticipated Sega Saturn titles. This page is highlighting the new release title, The Unsolved, which is a hyper-science adventure game for the Sega Saturn. It seems to be diving into 20th century unsolved mysteries and UFO phenomena, playing on the Roswell incident's 50th anniversary in 1997. The game promises to reveal the truth about UFOs. There's a section announcing Project The Unsolved, detailing a press event held in Tokyo and Ginza in late January to unveil the game. They're also pushing a cross-media approach, mentioning a comic serialization starting in February, and hinting at image characters called EB being involved. The game scenario is described as a battle, where fact and drama intersect. You play as a journalist and their partner investigating strange murder cases. It sounds like you'll have choices to make that influence the story, picking from 3 different directions to investigate and gather information. The ending is said to branch out depending on your choices, offering a detailed and varied experience. We can see screenshots from the game showing in-game conversations and some dramatic scenes. There are also photos from the press conference showing the game producer Takashi Ichinose and Akio Asuka, who is credited with the original story and concept. The page ends by questioning if the game's events are fiction or something more, leaving you to wonder. This page showcases 2 exciting upcoming games for the Sega Saturn. First up is Casper, based on the popular movie. It's an adventure game set in a spooky mansion where you play as Casper. The goal is to collect items and solve puzzles within the mansion. The preview emphasizes the detailed graphics and charming character of Casper, making it enjoyable even for younger players. The reviewer notes the game's puzzles and the many gimmicks found within the mansion itself. Next we have Phantom Black Bass, a fishing game. The story revolves around a young boy who dreams of catching a mystical, phantom black bass, and a promise to a fairy he meets in his dreams. The game is designed to be approachable for beginners, while offering realistic fishing gameplay, emphasizing the thrill of catching fish. It highlights the casting techniques, fighting fish, and even RPG elements. The visuals are all polygon-based, including the fish, backgrounds, and even information displays, creating a visually appealing fishing experience. The reviewer seems impressed with the visual presentation and encourages players to try catching the phantom black bass themselves. This page introduces two new games in the popular Tokimeki Memorial series for Sega Saturn. First up is Tokimeki Memorial Selection, Shiori Fujisaki, which seems to be a special collection dedicated to the iconic character Shiori Fujisaki. This title boasts a 95% completion in this preview and looks like a must-have for fans, described as a collector's item. It includes a portrait collection mode featuring various images of Shiori, a voice collection to enjoy her voice lines, and a date special mode with date scenarios. One of the screenshots highlights a summer date theme, even showing Shiori in swimsuits. It seems to be a celebration of everything Shiori Fujisaki. The second game is Tokimeki Memorial Drama Series Volume 1, Rainbow Colored Youth, with a 30% completion rate in this preview. This one is an adventure game focusing on a brand new character, Akina Minori. The story revolves around high school life, particularly the soccer club. You play as a regular player aiming for a starting position, while Akina Minori is introduced as a manager, alongside Nijino Saki, who is also a manager. The story seems to explore relationships and events within the soccer club setting, with Akina Minori being described as a modern and energetic girl. This page showcases two intriguing titles. The first one is Jante Battle Cosplayer, a mahjong game with a fun cosplay twist. It seems like you play as a cosplayer, and the goal is to win mahjong matches to collect various costumes for your characters. They're really highlighting the beautiful girls in cosplay aspect, and the screenshots show off the different outfits you can get. The game is from Daiki, and it's launching on April 18th. They're making it sound like winning gets you to heaven, but losing, well, it's left to the imagination. Next up is Voice Fantasia, Lost Voice Power, which looks like a unique adventure game by Ask Kodansha, coming out May 9th. It blends anime-style graphics with live-action video footage. The story is about venturing into a game world to rescue trapped voices. Apparently, the game world shifts between day scene and night scene, offering different visuals and gameplay, with anime for daytime and live action for nighttime scenes. They even call it twice the deliciousness in one game because of this mix. One of the characters introduced is named Ink Feya. This page introduces two very different games. First up is Tokyo Shadow, described as a full-scale psycho-mystery game set in Shibuya. It seems to be a cinematic adventure using CG movie novel-style presentation. The story blends historical facts and urban legends of Tokyo, putting you in the role of someone trying to uncover hidden truths in the dark underbelly of the city. The screenshots show a realistic Shibuya backdrop, a woman who looks like the protagonist, and some eerie, shadowy scenes hinting at the mystery elements. The game is from Taito, and was nearing completion at 85% at the time of this magazine, planned for release on April 11th. Then there's Monster Slider, a puzzle game from DAT Japan released on March 28th. This one's all about sliding blocks to create chains and combos. It's presented in polygons and features special items. It boasts a story mode, a timed attack mode, and a two-player versus mode, offering 3 different ways to play. The screenshots show gameplay of sliding blocks, and a character selection screen where you can choose between characters like Franken and Golem. The characters are said to be visually unique and have special abilities, suggesting strategic depth in the gameplay. The Sega Saturn is getting 3 new games. NBA Jam Extreme, a 100% complete over-the-top basketball game, offers 2-on-2 matches with up to 4 players, spectacular moves, and hidden characters. Space Jam, also 100% complete, brings Looney Tunes basketball action with Toon Squad vs. Monster Aliens, supports 6 players, and includes minigames and a tournament mode, featuring Michael Jordan. Civilization, New World History, at 80% completion, is a strategic simulation where you guide a civilization towards world unification or space migration, featuring a user-friendly interface and historical eras from 4000 BC to 2100 AD. This page of Dream Access starts with reader contributions and game talk. In the Games This Week section, the writer is hyped about upcoming RPGs like Shining the Holy Ark, Air's Adventure, and Terra Fantastica for the Saturn, saying there are a lot of RPGs coming out. They mention that they are looking for interesting Saturn games to play and are eager for these RPGs. In the This Week's Otokoki section, a reader from Tokyo writes about playing games with their younger brother and shares a humorous story about a saying, Moodage Year, and something called World Car Love, being released and bought by friends. Another reader from Nagano talks about getting damaged in games and uses the phrase, absolutely die, when playing with friends. The fun Saturn section includes reader experiences. One reader talks about family gaming, mentioning playing games with their family, including Pretty Fighter X, and mentioning their family members, husband, wife, older son, 7, and younger son, 2. They also mention enjoying Virtua Cop 2 and Dead or Alive. Another reader shares a story about buying a Saturn on January 1st and the funny situation that happened with their father and a game save issue. There are images of Virtua Cop 2 and Dead or Alive characters and a manga-style illustration of a personality called Higashi Kana. This page of Dream Access Users Conference 97 dives straight into what readers are thinking about their Saturn. Someone from Tokyo is keen on replay modes, especially for story-heavy adventure and RPG games like Sakura Wars and Yakuken Bio and Peeps, wishing to relive those dramatic moments. Another reader in Saitama is hyped for Puyo Puyo Sun coming to Saturn, happy that they can play at home, which is great if arcades are hard to get to. A reader from Shizuoka welcomes a wider variety of games on Saturn, like fighting and racing titles, but hopes for more RPGs and strategy games with real depth. Then, someone from Chiba talks about Sega's image, feeling that maybe it's a bit too niche and game maniac focused. They think Sega needs a more accessible image to appeal to everyone. Lastly, a reader from Gunma recommends Warps D as a must-have game, praising both the PlayStation and Saturn versions, and mentions hoping for a complete version of True Motion and EO Media. There are also some images on the page, including a reaction cartoon, a fighter's Mega Mix screenshot, and an illustration of a unique-looking anime character. This page starts with a self-intro by Tohkan, a manga artist who loves games, especially puzzle, mahjong, pachinko, and rhythm games. They've been a Saturn owner since launch, playing titles like Puzzle and Action, Tantra, and Bibu Bibu, and they lean more towards puzzle than action games. Next up, in the Good Shopper section, readers share their shopping stories. One group of friends pooled money to snag the limited edition Enemy Zero box set and even companion costumes, managing to keep it within a 17,000 yen budget. Another reader planned a big Saturn software and Jackie Chan skin purchase for a hefty 127,300 yen. Lastly, someone found a cheap Mega CD2 at a game shop, buying it as a backup and also to link up their Mega Drive 2 and 32X, and they're puzzling over power adapters and connections, even jokingly asking if it's turning into Getter Robo. The Purikura collection shows off fun photobooth snaps from readers all over Japan, from Hokkaido to Osaka, with comments about funny faces, karaoke nights, debut celebrations, and general silliness with friends. Finally, Comic DA gives us some comic strips, one about table tennis and food, and another about the mystery of a black and white handkerchief. Dream Museum is a reader art showcase, currently focusing on the lack of Tsunemeyer drawings from Sakura Wars, and encouraging submissions of all types. The page features diverse fan art, including depictions of Iris, a girl with braids, a romantic Sakura/Kanzaki scene, a character named Kanma, a humorous brain-like creature, a girl in a yukata, a Valentine's Day-themed illustration, an emotional character, a cube x cube x cube drawing, and a casual scene of girls chatting. The program information section outlines submission guidelines, including a call for software presence, illustrations, and writing, with the theme E0 no Asano Yuri, nickname. Illustrations must be done with black pens or screen tones on postcards. Prizes include book coupons, and suggestions for new segments are welcomed. Submissions should be sent to SoftBank Publishing, SEGA Saturn Magazine DA section. This article examines the hype surrounding Virtua Fighter 3. Despite a nationwide tour featuring large-scale tournaments across Japan, the author questions whether the game lives up to the excitement, suggesting some players may struggle with its 3D mechanics compared to earlier 2D fighters. The author believes VF3's accessible system should naturally generate more enthusiasm. While acknowledging potential initial hesitations, the article emphasizes VF3's enjoyable gameplay and encourages players to experience it directly. It previews upcoming regional qualifiers, highlighting notable players. The author recounts personal experiences in large Kuchimite events, emphasizing the intense practice environment. Finally, the article spotlights a popular player named Yukun, showcasing the game's community and vibrant arcade culture. This page is an advertisement for Creative Human, a mail-order service specializing in Saturn software. They boast being open year-round and accepting fax orders 24 hours a day, with a flat shipping fee of 780 yen. They are running a new membership campaign offering 5% off and free shipping for orders over 10,000 yen. The advert highlights popular new releases for February, including titles like Sakura Taisen 2, Roommate Inoue Ryoko, Elevator Action Returns, and Cube Battler. There's also a large list of other Saturn games available to order, split into sections for special Saturn software and Lunar Silver Star Stories games, featuring a wide range of titles and genres at various price points. We can see screenshots from Sakura Taisen 2 and Puyo Puyo Sun, adding a visual touch to the game listings. This page is another advertisement for a mail-order game shop, this time for SATURN. It's packed with lists of Saturn, Mega Drive, Mega CD, 32X, and Game Gear games and accessories available for purchase. The page is dominated by extensive lists of Saturn games, categorized into new software and standard software sections, with Japanese titles and prices listed. There are also sections listing Mega Drive peripherals, Mega Drive sports games, Mega CD software, 32X software, and even Game Gear Plus One games. Towards the bottom, there's a section dedicated to Saturn peripherals, including consoles, controllers, cables, and memory cards, again with prices. Finally, the page details how to order via phone or fax, payment methods like cash on delivery, bank transfer, and postal money order, and shipping information mentioning a flat shipping fee and delivery time. It's essentially a comprehensive catalog for Sega gamers looking to buy games and accessories through mail order. This page from Sega Press Volume 18 is all about Valentine's Day prize goods and how to stay updated on Sega news. Mr. Mukai, the prize manager, is here to introduce some fantastic new items. He's particularly excited about the new Nights into Dreams, plush toys, and a cool Sonic the Hedgehog sound bank. Speaking of prizes, check out these awesome collectibles here. There are Puyo Puyo Magic Box keychains featuring those adorable puzzle characters, cute Kyoro-chans, music boxes, winter-themed Tama and Friends figurines, and even Virtua Fighter Kids keychain figures. If you're looking for the latest Sega scoop, they've got you covered, with services like Sega JoyJoy Telephone, a phone line for news, and the Sega Fax Club, which uses voice guides and fax info boxes. For those wanting video content, SEGA Video Magazine on VHS is still a thing, packed with gameplay and trailers. Volume 13 includes titles like Daytona USA Circuit Edition, Fighting Illusion Esky 1 Grand Prix, Tomb Raider, and a bunch more. Finally, for online info, you can always hit up the Sega and GameBusters homepages. This page is all about movie reviews and Sega employee thoughts. Take-chan's amateur movie review dives into the movie Crash, which he found pretty intense. He mentions being taken aback by the mature content and reflects on how his love for games shapes his movie perspective, comparing it to directors like Hitchcock and Cronenberg himself. He also talks about enjoying various film genres, from comedies like Beetlejuice to sci-fi and horror flicks, referencing titles like The Fly and War of the Worlds, and even classic action games like Mars Matrix and Battle Garega, showing his wide range of interests beyond just movies. Then there's the Sega Public Relations Diary, where Sega staff share their thoughts. Nagumo-kun talks about his busy schedule and feeling exhausted but still in good spirits. Gamer Miki talks about game center habits and enjoying conversations with other gamers, particularly about Sega Saturn games like Deep Fear and Sagata Senshiro, and mentions being into import games. Dark Tetsujin discusses his love for collecting, focusing on shoes and clothes, and how he enjoys chatting with people at work, especially about AM2 games and Naomi arcade systems, mentioning he's into Tail to Nose and 95 Max sneakers. Finally, they're running a big postcard recruitment corner, asking for reader submissions about Sega, including questions, requests, illustrations, and general thoughts. And in This Time This, they're giving away Daytona USA Circuit Edition posters to 10 lucky readers. This page is the Sega Saturn Software Databank, a comprehensive list of games ranked by readers' reviews. Spanning from November 1994 to January 1997, it's a go-to guide for understanding the Saturn software library. The ratings you see are the average scores from 3 reviewers, giving you a good idea of popular opinion. Games are organized by release month, and you'll find details like the game title, maker, price, genre, reviewer scores, and even peripheral compatibility, letting you know if you need a special controller or accessory to play. It seems like a handy reference for Saturn gamers to see which titles were scoring well with players back then. For example, you can see games like Virtua Fighter 2 and Myst listed here, among many others, along with their respective ratings and details. It's a great snapshot of the Saturn game landscape during that period, focusing on player feedback and game information at a glance.
This page continues the SEGA Saturn software databank, diving into game releases from February and March of 1996. It's packed with ratings and details, giving you a snapshot of what Saturn gamers were playing and enjoying back then. You'll find a wide variety of genres here, showcasing the Saturn's versatility. There are arcade hits like Virtua Cop and Die Hard Arcade making their way to home consoles, alongside innovative titles like Guardian Heroes and Nights into Dreams, which were pushing boundaries. For shoot-'em-up fans, Radiant Silvergun stands out with its high score, and RPG enthusiasts had Dragon Force to look forward to. We also see platformers like Clockwork Knight 2 and Bug, catering to different tastes. It's interesting to note the peripherals listed. Seeing mentions of mouse and analog controller compatibility shows how the Saturn was supporting different playstyles. Overall, this page really highlights a strong period for the Saturn, with a diverse lineup of well-received games across various genres. This page continues the software databank, and we are looking at more SEGA Saturn game releases. There's a ton of info here, primarily focused on game data, with tables listing titles, publishers, genres, prices, and ratings. We can see a wide range of games across genres, like RPGs, action, puzzle, and shooting. Looking through the listings, titles like Action Soccer, Angel Geek Special Premium Box, Wizardry Vi and V2 Complete, Deep Fear, Gotha 2, Iron Man XO, and Radiant Silvergun are listed, showing a good mix of well-known games and perhaps some more niche Japanese titles. There are also some interesting categories like Gameware Volume, indicating compilations or budget releases. The page seems very data-heavy, providing a detailed snapshot of the Saturn software library at this time, with a focus on cataloging the games rather than in-depth reviews. It's a great resource for anyone wanting to see the breadth of games available for the Saturn around this period. This page continues the SEGA Saturn software databank, and it's packed with even more game releases and information. We are still seeing a lot of data tables filled with game titles, genres, publishers, prices, and ratings. It's a huge catalog of Saturn software. Looking through the listings, there are many titles across different genres. Games such as Victory Goal Worldwide Edition, Super Variable Geo, Blood Factory, Deep Fear, and Street Racer Extra are listed, and we can also see titles like Fighters Megamix and Puzzle Bobble 3. The page still seems very data-heavy, focusing on presenting a comprehensive list of games with key details rather than detailed reviews. It gives a good overview of the Saturn's extensive game library around this time, and continues the databank format of the previous page. This document details the upcoming SEGA Saturn game release schedule. It begins with a guide to understanding the abbreviations for game genres, ACT, RPG, SHT, etc., and supported controller types, handle, mouse, etc., and also explains age ratings and multi-disc game indicators. The core of the page is a list of games organized by release date. February and March releases show a wide variety of genres, including sports, shooters, simulations, strategy, and puzzles. Some highlighted titles are Sakura Wars, Blooming Flowers, Panzer Dragoon Zwei, Daytona USA Circuit Edition, Virtua Fighter Kids, and NBA Jam Extreme. Looking further ahead, April and beyond features titles like Angelic Special 2, Shadow Dancer, and Groove on Fight. The schedule reflects the diverse game library available for the SEGA Saturn. This software schedule focuses on upcoming SEGA Saturn games slated for release from July through autumn. July features Guilty Gear, while August brings The Phantom Fish. September tentatively lists Fantasy Zone. The spring release window includes titles like Iron Blood, Night's Shot, Magic, The Gathering, a likely translation of Samurai Showdown 2, Resident Evil, Doom, and Primal Rage, alongside several Japanese RPGs. Summer sees Phantasm Zone, Mahjong Blue Sky, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, and several other titles. Finally, autumn features Hopstep Eidos and Rensa Love Chain, along with several more games planned for 1997, including Herc's Adventures, Sentimental Graffiti, and more. This schedule demonstrates a diverse range of genres, showing the Saturn's continued support.
The next page is a survey postcard from the magazine, providing instructions on how to fill it out and example responses. It details how to properly answer the questions using a black pen and clearly writing in block letters, making sure each digit fits in its designated box. The survey itself starts with demographic questions about gender, age, school, or occupation, and asks about ownership of SEGA Saturn software and which gaming magazines the reader reads. It then delves into opinions on the current issue's content, asking about article interest and overall satisfaction, as well as suggestions for improvements. Following the survey questions are 3 tables. Table 1 lists articles in this issue, covering a wide range of topics including game titles, specific features, and regular sections. Table 2 is a hardware list, featuring various SEGA Saturn peripherals and accessories, such as different controllers, memory carts, and link cables. Table 3 is a software list, a very extensive catalog of SEGA Saturn games, likely to be used to answer questions in the survey about favorite games. This page is a full advertisement for the SEGA Saturn game Yushun Classic Road, a horse racing simulation game. The advert emphasizes the realistic horse breeding and racing aspects, stating it's a serious simulation where you become an owner and trainer aiming to win the Japanese Derby. The game covers the period from a horse's debut at age 3 to the classic races at age 4, around a year in game time. It also features special modes including 4 player battles, and the gameplay covers years from 1988 to 1996. Screenshots show various gameplay elements, like map views of racecourses, horse data screens with stats and conditions, and in-race action. There are also images of characters who seem to be trainers or jockeys. The advert highlights realistic racehorse bloodline data and over 1,000 famous racehorses included in the game. The game is slated for release on March 14th, priced at 5,800 yen. At the bottom of the page, there is a smaller advertisement for Tomb Raider, highlighting it as a non-stop action-adventure game with overwhelming graphics already on sale. This page is a big news announcement aimed at SEGA Saturn users, advertising the InterQ internet service. It's positioned as a fantastic option for SEGA Saturn modem owners, promising internet access in just 3 minutes. Key selling points are highlighted, like no credit card is needed, and you only pay for what you use afterwards. They're boasting a fast 3 Mbps connection, emphasizing how easy it is to get connected, just needing your computer and modem, and you're online quickly. The advert also mentions a large network backbone for speed. It's noted at the top that they are progressively supporting 3.6K modems nationwide. There's also a smaller section recruiting franchise stores, called FIC franchise stores, and gives a phone number to call for details. InterQ, an internet service for SEGA Saturn, is advertising a new Center Open campaign with a special offer of 3 minutes for 10 yen during February. They continue to emphasize their pay-as-you-go billing. The ad highlights 2 services. InterQ MyMail offers free email addresses, including daily delivery of Jam Daily Mail. Users can apply via the homepage, but PC use is suggested for compatibility. InterQ www Guide is promoted as a homepage directory, featuring categories like search engines and recommended sites. A limited-time free trial dial-up is also offered, with limited lines. Users are advised to avoid calling during busy periods and after the campaign ends. In case of congestion, users should change the phone number to their nearest InterQ center. The phone number for the trial is 03541 08861. New service center locations are listed, with phone numbers on the next page. This page is an advertisement for InterQ Internet Service, continuing from the previous page. It mainly lists phone numbers for different regions in Japan, categorized by area like Hokkaido/Tohoku, Kanto, Hokuriku/Koshinetsu, Tokai, Kansai, Shikoku/Chugoku, and Kyushu/Okinawa. The ad promotes pay-as-you-go billing with no initial fees, monthly fees, or registration required, highlighting that it's just 20 yen for 1 minute and the first 20 seconds are free. It mentions a new Center Open campaign and lists phone numbers for each area. Below the region lists, there's information about InterQ Hot 300, mentioning a flat rate of 300 yen for unlimited connection time. It lists specific area codes and phone numbers for this service, like 011 for Sapporo, 022 for Sendai, 03 for Tokyo, 052 for Nagoya, 06 for Osaka, 082 for Hiroshima, and 092 for Fukuoka. The page also provides internet connection support for users having trouble connecting, stating it's okay even for beginners using SES, and encourages people to call for assistance 24 hours a day. Contact information is provided, including a telephone number 012-0818-699, fax number, and email address for inquiries. Nifty serve and internet information details are given, including an INVOID and password, along with another inquiry phone number, specifically for internet-related issues. At the very bottom, there is a note saying, "Everyone wants to know the latest www news. 03541-08866 service will connect you, and if connected, press magazine code 8730#. This guide details setting up SEGA Saturn Internet access using the InterQ service. First, power off the console and connect the modem to the cartridge slot and a phone line. Insert the InterQ CD-ROM and power on the Saturn. Use the control pad to navigate the menus, pressing the A button to proceed. Configure your phone line type, tone or pulse, and any necessary outside line prefix. Save these settings and select a provider. If you have an existing contract, choose those with contracts. Otherwise, those without contracts. Enter the InterQ Go connection settings, user ID guest, password guest, and DNS address 202.23.1.23.1.40. Leave proxy settings blank. Start the connection. Select URL and type in http://www.interq. or .jp/. Connect to the internet by selecting Yes, and then bookmark the InterQ homepage for future access. The guide includes visual screenshots and controller instructions. The next page dives into gameplay strategy for Daytona USA Circuit Edition, focusing on how to maintain top speed. It's titled 3-7 Speedway Strategy Guide, How to Maintain Top Speed. The page breaks down track mastery into 4 key sections labeled A to D, each with screenshots demonstrating the techniques. Section A, In-Betting Driving, advises sticking to the inside line, especially on the initial gentle corner, to avoid slowing down. Section B, Caution with Wall Contact at Exits, specifically warns about the roulette curve, cautioning against wall collisions when exiting corners, suggesting braking to adjust speed. Section C, Utilize Slipstreams, highlights the importance of slipstreaming in arcade mode to boost speed, advising players to get close to opponents but avoid collisions, and using slipstreams to ease final corner navigation. Finally, Section D, How to Increase Exit Speed, focuses on the billiard crash corner. It suggests braking before the corner, steering left, then accelerating out with a drift technique, aiming for over 270 km/h exit speed, especially in manual transmission cars, recommending downshifting to third gear for safety. The page also includes a course map pinpointing these strategic areas A to D, and highlights the fastest lap time achieved by Hornet at 17 seconds 74, and a time attack reference time of 17 seconds 80. The developer's comment mentions the billiard crash as the biggest challenge, and emphasizes that even small mistakes can cost significant time. This guide provides strategies for navigating the Dinosaur Canyon course in Daytona USA Circuit Edition, specifically focusing on the mountain pass. It's divided into 6 sections. AF, offering advice on each segment. Section A recommends a full throttle start on the inside line, while Section B advises caution and early braking in the tunnel. Section C stresses avoiding the slippery green areas. Section D promotes aggressive drifting in a right-hand corner, while Section E suggests grip driving to maximize speed through the hairpin. Finally, Section F focuses on a high-speed drift for the final corner. The guide includes a course map and mentions the course's technical challenges, with developer commentary highlighting the potential for time loss in the later sections and the fastest lap times. This page continues with the Daytona USA Circuit Edition Time Attack Contest, featuring comments from SEGA developer Nakamura-san. He discusses the time attack season and mentions the availability of his ghost data for players to challenge. Nakamura talks about his confidence in the Hornet at setup for Daytona, especially in courses like Desert City, which he finds deceptively challenging due to its long lap and numerous corners requiring precise control. He mentions spending a lot of time perfecting his ghost runs, and even jokes about shaving his beard if players beat his times. There's a table showing the courses for the contest and the contest standard time for each, like 17 to 80 for 3-7 Speedway, 45, 00 for Dinosaur Canyon, 1 hour 40 minutes and 0 seconds for Seaside Galaxy, 34:00 for National Park Speedway, and 45:90 for Desert City. The contest rules are simple. Players need to submit replay videos of their best times on VHS, specifying the course and time on the tape and envelope. Top finishers in each course ranking get prizes, which are quite impressive. First place gets a Daytona Original cap and a SEGA Saturn modem. Second place gets a Daytona Original race amp and versus cable. And third place gets a Daytona special t-shirt and stickers. There's also a little tip about a secret rocket start, which is explained as a fast start method involving revving to 6,500 revolutions per minute while holding the brake and releasing the brake at the green light. This page is all about the upcoming SEGA Saturn game, Planet Assault, Valdios 2, or Quo Vadis 2 as it's known in Japan. It's highlighted as a story-driven battle simulation game, promising a dramatic experience. The page emphasizes the game's focus on human drama, suggesting it even surpasses the original Quo Vadis in this aspect, exploring complex relationships within the Red Scorpion unit, blurring the lines between friend and foe. We get a peek at the gameplay through screenshots, showing a top-down strategic view, typical of simulation titles. It seems to be in the final stages of development, boasting an 85% completion rate, and slated for release in March, costing 6,800 yen for the Gramsless version. A notable highlight is the completion of the ending theme song, sung by Hiroko Kasahara, a popular voice actress and singer in Japan. The page even features a picture of her, further emphasizing the game's focus on story and character. It sounds like they are really pushing the narrative and dramatic elements of this strategy title. Planet Assault. Valdios 2 offers extensive mech customization. Players can modify assault armor, adjusting pilot data and settings. The customization screen showcases mechs like the 12MEM5 Mortal, with multiple weapon slots, allowing for up to 3 equipped weapons at once. Weapon stats like range, power, and accuracy are also adjustable. 2 assault armor types are highlighted: the close quarters felon, with weapons like combat knives, and the long-range sniper, armed with rocket launchers and laser cannons. Equipment changes are visually represented. Furthermore, the game features enhanced communication scenes in Quo Vadis 2. Characters now express themselves with real-time facial animations and voice acting, enhancing immersion and emotional impact through diverse character expressions. Planet Assault. Valdios 2 opens with 3 story arcs. The GO.A arc introduces protagonist Ovan, his fiancée Hilda, and friend Dii featuring an escort mission. The Gaid arc, set 10 years later, sees Ovan, now a branded terrorist, join the mercenary group Red Scar to uncover the truth. He eventually joins the 8 planets' allied forces in a wasteland battle setting. The Orig arc focuses on a shifting war, moving the battle to planet Orig, introducing reporter Emma, and hinting at a mystery surrounding Zykov. The game features a versatile battle screen with 3 view sizes. ML, a robust communication system, delivers dialogue, news footage, reports, and map navigation, enhancing the gameplay experience with examples of navigator screens and communication visuals. This page introduces Advanced World War, Millennium Empire, a deep war simulation game for SEGA Saturn, eagerly awaited by 440,000 Saturn users. It emphasizes newly implemented systems, focused on search concepts, and the detrimental effects of weather. The page is structured like a tutorial or game manual, detailing key gameplay mechanics. It mentions the Military Academy, where players learn about search and weather effects, which are crucial for strategic gameplay. The upper-class war theory lecture delves into these concepts, explaining how terrain elevation and visual obstructions like forests and hills impact visibility in the game. It highlights that search is vital for spotting enemy units. A section on day and night visual differences explains the game's turn-based system, consisting of 3 day turns and 2 night turns per cycle. Night turns significantly reduce search ranges and limit air unit attacks, emphasizing the importance of strategic planning during different times of day. The practical exam section seems to be a mission or challenge scenario, tasking players to occupy specific points within 8 turns, with penalties for weather-induced errors. The page showcases screenshots illustrating these concepts, including weather icons and visual changes between day and night gameplay environments. Essentially, this page is giving players a primer on the advanced strategic elements of Advanced World War, Millennium Empire, focusing on how search and weather conditions will impact their tactical decisions. This analysis of Advanced World War, Millennium Empire details its unit organization and resource management. Armies are structured around generals, both enemy, hollow circle army, hollow up pointing triangle, hollow square army, and friendly, player, sky army, allied nations. Units are commanded by these generals. Key stats influence gameplay. Force power, FPW, impacts unit effectiveness, fuel, ammo, morale, while sight, sergeant, determines visibility range. Supply, SUP, decreases over time, but can be replenished in controlled areas, consuming victory points. VP. VP is crucial for campaign map progress, influencing unit purchases and development. The review suggests ongoing exploration of the game's complexity, hinting at deeper dives into unit types, campaign strategies, and resource optimization. Screenshots provide visual context, showcasing unit stats and resource values. This page dives into the quirky puzzle game, Tenchi Muyo Gamehen, based on the popular anime series. It's described as a Doki Doki falling object puzzle game, featuring the familiar Tenchi Muyo characters. The page details the game's basic system, which involves lining up 3 or more balls of the same color to clear them. Consecutive clears cause bubble water to be sent to the opponent, obscuring their play area. If blocks reach the top, it's game over. The game features different modes. Story mode, where you experience a story based on the anime, with character voice acting, and unique endings for each character. Free mode allows for quick matches against the CPU, adjustable in difficulty, and is recommended for those wanting to practice. Training mode is for beginners to learn the rules and special moves. Finally, 2P battle mode lets friends compete head-to-head. Screenshots showcase gameplay and character art, including characters like Ryoko, Ayeka, and Sasami. The page also highlights special moves for characters in 2-pip mode, mentioning that character selection can provide an advantage, recommending using Kenshan for those wanting an edge in versus battles. The review score is 95% and mentions the game's release date and price. It notes that the game utilizes heart blocks, water, and chains for gameplay depth, promising an enjoyable experience. This page introduces the playable characters in Tenchi Muyo Gamehen, highlighting their personalities and unique special moves. Starting with Ryoko, described as aggressive and impulsive, her special move involves summoning large amounts of water to overwhelm opponents using Demon Emperor blocks. Next up is Ayeka, the princess type, whose special move prevents attacks for 20 seconds, reflecting her royal composure. Sasami is portrayed as friendly and good at cooking, with a defensive special move that also utilizes water, and she can transform into Pretty Sammy. Washu, the genius scientist, has a powerful special move called Magnetic Field Reversal Prism Shower that throws water at the opponent. Mihoshi, a clumsy police officer, relies on food-themed attacks, using her love of dumplings to create chain reactions, and her special move involves manipulating falling blocks. Ryuki, the rabbit-like creature, attacks with a yo-yo move, clearing heart blocks and launching a Demon Emperor attack. Finally, Kione, the unlucky one, can destroy all heart blocks with her special move. The page includes screenshots of each character in gameplay and action poses, along with short descriptions that give a flavor of their in-game abilities and personalities. This page seems to be introducing a game called Daina Alien, which is subtitled Singing Dinosaur. It looks like a preview of the game, mentioning that it's just 1 week until release. The story is about a girl named Emiri who encounters a singing dinosaur. The game seems to be about dragon egg search, and there are mentions of advanced tests, musical instrument tests, and a secret task involving GAA sounds. There are screenshots showing characters and gameplay. One image shows a character wrapped in blankets possibly feeling unwell, another with dinosaurs, and a girl playing a wind instrument. The text suggests the game involves rhythm and musical elements, with talk of instruments like trumpets and recorders. It seems to be a light-hearted and whimsical game, focused on dinosaurs and music, with a school setting implied by the advanced test context. The second part of the Daina Less Than 3 Alien Magazine exclusive interview delves into the game's music and sound design. Sound producer Mr. Takemoto and scenario writer Mr. Tsukishima discuss the challenges of syncing sound with visuals, especially for the lengthy animation. Over 50 instruments were employed, from recorders to pianos, creating a diverse soundscape. Early development involved Tsukishima creating sound effects and music, even using household items. The interview highlights the collaborative process of matching sound and visuals, with Takemoto often providing innovative ideas. Images showcase the game's development, particularly a nighttime instrument practice scene, emphasizing its musical focus. The developers aim to immerse players, allowing them to feel like they are playing instruments, inviting enjoyment of the Daina less than 3 alien experience. Puyo Puyo Sun, a Sega Saturn puzzle game, is set to release on February 14th for 4,800 yen. Promising 100% completion, it introduces a new Sun Puyo system, with mastery being key to victory. The game aims for a broad audience, featuring single-player modes with varying difficulties and endings, plus a 2-player versus mode with 16 characters and diverse combinations. The single-player experience offers easy, normal, and hard modes, each with unique endings. Endless Puyo Puyo mode presents 5 difficulty levels. The tagline is, "Blow away the heat with Sun." First edition copies include a Puyo Puyo Sun watch and stickers. Additionally, a monthly campaign awards 100 lucky purchasers with a watch. Angelique Special 2 is coming to Sega Saturn, a sequel focusing on nurturing a mysterious orb to become queen. This entry expands on the romance elements of the original, with enhanced interactions like gift-giving and letters, and the protagonist's personality influencing dialogue. Key gameplay involves developing spirit, sensibility, and grace at the Academy, likely consuming heart icons. Besides the Guardian Saints, 6 new characters, including Academy instructors, a fortune teller, and a merchant, will assist. The game, about 80% complete, is slated for an April 4th release. Pre-order bonuses include a travel set. Angelique Special 2 promises a deeper experience, with a focus on romance and new characters, aiming to captivate fans. Dark Hunter for Sega Saturn is an edutainment title from Hikari Productions designed to teach English through an adventure game. Following the success of Emit, this game blends an engaging story with language learning tools. Players experience the story through anime and adventure segments, interacting with monsters and battles from different character perspectives: Mariko, Ran, and Chair, allowing for multiple playthroughs. Key features include switchable Japanese and English audio/subtitles, sentence repetition, and a word list for vocabulary. The story, penned by Ryuko Tae, involves students at the Different Dimension Academy and the Forest of Bewitching Demons, and centers on Mariko, a high school student dealing with family changes and mysterious incidents. The game is slated for an April release at 6,800 yen and is compatible with Power Memory, offering an interactive learning experience similar to an OVA. Assault Suit Lanos 2, Target Earth, on Saturn, is a fast-paced action shooter set in 2123, where the elite 12th Special Task Force battles in a global conflict. The game blends story with action, featuring engaging dialogue. The storyline unfolds amidst a war between the San Laurel Republic and the Zines Federation. Players will face diverse enemy units, including the armored Zuga, in environments like urban areas and mountainous terrain. Players must navigate missions like Rock, with falling rocks and a laser enemy, and mountainous area, involving breaking through terrain. Success depends on fulfilling specific conditions for item upgrades, not just high scores. The game emphasizes tactics, including ammo conservation, safe zone utilization, and mastering the 3-button controls. Promising an enhanced experience over previous titles, the game is complete and scheduled for a February 21st release. This page is all about Doki Doki Pretty League 2, which is coming to the Saturn and getting some graphical upgrades. It seems like the Saturn version is aiming to smooth out some of the rough edges from the PAC release, especially in terms of graphics and scene transitions. The article mentions they are enhancing the visuals and making the character movement smoother during map transitions. They're showcasing some key scenes, like the lunchbox scene with Maijima Kaname, where you can see improved graphics compared to the PC version. Another scene highlighted is sending Mizuno Ami home, again emphasizing the graphical improvements. The article mentions the game is about 80% complete, and the developers are really focusing on visual quality and delivering a satisfying experience. The reviewer seems impressed, noting the attention to detail in the visuals, even in areas that could have been overlooked. They also point out that the original illustrations are being faithfully used in the Saturn version, which should please fans. The Saturn version of Doki Doki Pretty League 2 is receiving a new original theme song and opening animation, reflecting a strong emphasis on visual and audio quality. NEC Interchannel prioritized voice actor selection to perfectly match each character. The opening animation is being created by the same staff as the OVA series, ensuring high quality and originality compared to the PC version. The page highlights the character cast with portraits and voice actor names. The theme song, Tear Ring version, is sung by Matsushita Miyuki, the main character's voice actress. Onajimi Sourcepipe handles the opening and ending themes, with the opening being a grand piano ballad and the ending song written and sung by Matsushita Miyuki. The developers are focused on making the Saturn version visually and orally impressive. Mr. Bones is a Sega-developed action game starring a skeleton protagonist, Bones, with unique movement mechanics. The game, priced at 5,800 yen, supports 2 players of all ages. Renowned musician Ronnie Montrose provides the blues guitar soundtrack, hoping to gain popularity in Japan. The game showcases stages like Grave Escape, where Bones flees from Dogorians, Mausoleum, featuring dodging bone attacks, and The Valley, a nighttime stage with challenging skeleton enemies. The story follows Bones' escape, his discovery of music, and his eventual collaboration with other skeletons in a log house, suggesting music and guitar play a pivotal role. Mr. Bones' gameplay features diverse stages. Guitar solo requires rhythm-based combat against skeleton enemies. Stages 5 to 7, Night, Dawn, and Day of the Bats, focus on collecting bone parts after Bones is dismembered by bats, using actions like jumping and breaking. Rolling logs in a forest involves avoiding rolling logs. After Stage 8, a movie leads to Drum Solo, where players hit drums in sequence. Glass Shards presents rotating platforms over lava, demanding precise jumping. The final stage, Big Bones, challenges players to reassemble bones by collecting scattered body parts. Blast Chamber is a Sega Saturn action game developed by Activision Japan, a unique human bomb sports title with a focus on action and strategic gameplay. Players navigate a cube-shaped arena, carrying bombs and battling opponents. The game features both single-player, puzzle-like challenges and a multiplayer mode for up to 4 players, likened to Crystal Rugby. The game boasts cool sound design, including explosions and a calm female narrator, alongside a mysterious techno soundtrack that enhances the atmosphere. The game's charm lies in its direct translation-style messages, contributing to a nostalgic feel reminiscent of older games. The core concept revolves around 4 warriors fighting for survival in a future sports setting, collecting crystals to extend their lives. The game's story emphasizes the ambiguity of the competition, and players fight for survival, the outcome of which is uncertain. Blast Chamber is a 4-sided world game with Q-bomb rules. Players navigate a cube, collecting crystals and depositing them in a goal, with a timer adding to the chaos. In single-player, the timer counts down to a game over if you have no lives. In multiplayer, individual timers track death counts. Depositing crystals extends the time limit. The rotation marker rotates the cube, changing the level layout and player positions. Players are danger when alive, and explosion dead when caught in explosions. Items, with 13 different types, boost jump, movement, and provide extra time or crystals, reappearing periodically. The game offers 1-player survival and various multiplayer modes. Traps, including jump platforms, switches, fans, spike traps, floating platforms, and pits, are scattered throughout, adding to the mayhem. Screenshots visually demonstrate the gameplay and the use of traps. This page showcases Simulation Zoo, advertising it as a Zoo Director Big Recruitment Drive. It's presented as a simulation game where you take on the role of a zoo director. They're really pushing the idea of managing your own zoo, from building facilities and managing animal health to ensuring visitor satisfaction. The page emphasizes that there are 8 different playable locations to choose from, including plains, mountains, jungles, deserts, Arctic regions, forests, and grasslands, giving you a variety of environments to work with. Screenshots show off the gameplay interface, highlighting aspects like managing animal food, building zoo infrastructure, and even an animal encyclopedia where you can learn about over 150 types of animals. The text suggests that your goal is to create a world-class zoo, earning praise and love from your animals and high evaluations. There's even a section praising the game for its rewarding gameplay experience, emphasizing the satisfaction of nurturing animals and building a successful zoo. Overall, it's a pretty enthusiastic advertisement for a detailed zoo management simulation game. Theme Park is a new SEGA Saturn amusement park management simulation, currently 50% complete. Players become park owners, designing attractions, managing staff, and ensuring visitor satisfaction. The goal is to create the ultimate theme park and become the theme park king. This version boasts improved graphics and new features. Players can choose park locations globally, place attractions, and manage finances. New additions include region-specific shops, CG movie attractions tied to visitor satisfaction, and mini-games for a refreshing break. The game also features dynamic visual changes, with seasonal weather effects, impacting visitor behavior, and a theme park inspection mode allows players to experience their park in 3D from a visitor's perspective. The next page introduces Hop Step Idol, a boys' idol training simulation game for the SEGA Saturn. This game puts you in the role of a producer, aiming to nurture your very own male idol from the ground up. Targeted towards female players, the game promises a chance to raise a perfect idol. The page details gameplay elements like scouting potential idols in locations such as Shinjuku and Shibuya, and training them through various lessons. Screenshots show different lesson types and their effectiveness, indicated by icons and numerical values. The game seems to involve managing schedules and building relationships with the idols, even touching upon themes of romance and scandals. There's a section highlighting bad compatibility and scandal, hinting at events and challenges players might face in managing their idol group. Overall, it appears to be a simulation game focused on the idol industry, offering a blend of training, management, and relationship building with attractive male characters. This page is an advertisement for the SEGA Saturn game Dragon Master Silk, which is described as a comical event-filled 3D dungeon RPG. The game seems to be about defeating a demon lord and conquering the world. The page highlights user-friendly features promising a comfortable play experience. One key feature is easy auto-mapping, which automatically records explored dungeon paths, making navigation easier. Another point is the fastest battle system, which is described as allowing for quick and stress-free battles. Finally, the game offers data link at a glance, meaning important data is readily accessible to the player, allowing for easy equipment and item management. The game features a party of characters, with the main character being Silk, voiced by Kazusa Mirai, described as a cheerful and energetic protagonist. The party also includes 3 other characters, aka voiced by Yuko Mita, a fire magic specialist, Ao, voiced by Yuko Nagashima, specializing in water magic, and Ki, voiced by Miki Nagasawa, a lightning magic user. These are presented as magical dragon companions, who join Silk on her journey. The developer's message mentions the game is about 95% complete, and aiming for a March release. They emphasize the vast dungeons and ease of play, with 8-directional movement, promising an enjoyable story for players. This page highlights the upcoming SEGA Saturn adventure game, Mysterious Thief Saint Tail, based on the popular manga and anime series of the same name. The page emphasizes the dual life of the protagonist, Mamie Hanioka, who is a normal schoolgirl by day but transforms into the phantom thief Saint Tail by night. The game seems to follow this structure, showcasing both aspects of Mamie's life. During the day she attends school, helps her mother, and lives a typical schoolgirl life. Gameplay during the daytime seems to involve navigating town locations and interacting with people. By night, however, she becomes Saint Tail to help those in need, solving mysteries and confronting wrongdoers. As Saint Tail, she utilizes magic and items, outsmarting the police and fulfilling requests from those who are troubled. The page also introduces a couple of characters, Asuka Jr., seemingly a classmate and potential rival or admirer, and Miyazaki Amy, an original character for the game, described as a transfer student who attends Mamie's school. The screenshots illustrate both the daytime school life and the nighttime thief activities, with gameplay scenes showing interactions in town and Saint Tail in action. The game promises scenarios and events that will advance the story and feature interactions with various characters. This page is dedicated to Wolfang 2001 for the SEGA Saturn. It's an arcade port, described as a side-scrolling shooting game where you control armored mobile weapon robots. They are emphasizing that this Saturn version is a complete port of the arcade game, but with added extras for home consoles. These extras include voice output for messages and improved action elements. There's even a special Saturn mode planned. A big feature they are pushing is the robot customization. You can mix and match parts, arms, bodies, legs, to create your own unique mech. They give examples of two preset types. The Type 45 Dragon King, which focuses on powerful weaponry and close combat, and the Type 09 Snowwind, that is more about homing missiles and balanced attacks for all ranges. Finally, they are hyping up a really impressive opening movie made just for the home console version to really get players pumped up for the action. It seems they expect this to be a big hit with arcade fans and newcomers alike. Game Paradise is a new, wacky scrolling shooter for the Sega Saturn developed by Jaleco. Players battle a mad scientist named Genius Yamada through game-themed stages. The Saturn version, based on an arcade original, boasts a Saturn Original Arrange mode with new characters, stages like Karaoke World and Home Use World, and a luxury pack limited edition with bonus content. Playable characters include Saria with the Plus Alpha plane and Genius piloting Fighter X with references to Jaleco's older fighter game. There are 5 characters total, each with unique attacks and playstyles. Stages include Game Center World and Toy World, promising a humorous, content-rich experience. The game aims for fun and light-hearted gameplay, according to early previews. This page introduces Planet Joker, a new sci-fi shooting game coming to Sega Saturn. Set in near-future Tokyo, it's a vertical scrolling shooter using 3D polygons. You play as a member of a special ground self-defense force unit piloting a humanoid mech to repel an invading force. The game boasts 7 stages packed with varied enemies and 7 types of weapons, including different shot types, bombs, and charge attacks. There are 2 missions highlighted. Mission 1 at 5 a.m. on May 14th, where you fight underwater enemies and a massive carrier boss, and Mission 2 at 10 p.m. on the same day, focused on infiltrating a factory district and another boss encounter. The game stages are set in Tokyo, featuring recognizable landmarks, and the story progresses to a giant underground city beneath Tokyo in later stages. The page emphasizes the game's action and the need to master all 3 attack types: shot, bomb, and charge. This page is a guide section for Sega Saturn software that has already been released. It's titled SEGA Saturn Soft Complete Guide in big, bold letters. You can see a cool anime girl on the left, and the background looks like shattered glass, giving it a dynamic feel. The guide highlights 4 games in particular: Far East of Eden, The Apocalypse IV, Eve Burst Error, Dynamite Cop, and The King of Fighters 96. It seems to be offering an in-depth look at these titles for players to really get into them. The text emphasizes enjoying the post-release Sega Saturn software in this corner of the magazine. This walkthrough guides players through the Grand Canyon and Arizona areas of Far East of Eden IV on Sega Saturn near the end of Disc 1. Beginning in Death Valley, players should visit Las Vegas to purchase high-performance boots. The Grand Canyon requires gondola use. Treasure chests throughout the area contain helpful items. The Indian Village offers an item shop, inn, and potentially magic seeds from the chief. Monsters in this region are tough, and magic attack power is boosted. Manage MP wisely using recovery items or magic. Las Vegas evolves as the game progresses. Side quests in Phoenix include helping a girl with a lost dog for a love charm, dealing with an angry security guard named Cherry Oops, which involves a battle, and exterminating poisonous desert snakes for a reward from the Hunter Guild. This guide covers the Arizona section of Far East of Eden IV, The Apocalypse, following the Grand Canyon. In Tombstone, you'll help a girl, leading to a battle with the weak Clinton brothers, and a choice at the OK Ranch concerning Cherry and the brothers, also affected by contaminated water. Next, you proceed to a peak town, known for its food shops and lively atmosphere. After another Clinton brothers encounter, you'll meet Billy. This area has a linear path. The Devil Ranger battle is challenging, requiring quick enemy elimination. The guide provides lists of Arizona monsters with their stats and weaknesses, along with items like boots and garments. Items include the Anman, which recovers HP and TP. Finally, the guide advises returning to Las Vegas after Arizona. The town features gambling options: poker, 7-card stud, blackjack, and roulette. 6-line bets recommended. This guide covers Disc 2 of Far East of Eden IV, The Apocalypse, focusing on new locations and progression. After resting at the Alamo ruins, you'll head to border town El Paso, a lively town where you'll meet Pop, a helpful ally. El Paso is soon attacked by monsters. The next stop is Mexico City, potentially containing information about the fire tequila.
You'll meet the museum director, Romello, and face hordes of zombies.
Following Mexico City is Oaxaca Village, connected to ancient rituals and the Day of the Dead, also overrun by zombies. You'll need to investigate the jungle for the source of the undead. Finally, the pyramid is presented as a multi-stage challenge, requiring stone collection and featuring powerful enemies. The guide recommends purchasing 9mm rounds in Mexico. The page also includes detailed enemy and item lists for the Carlsbad, Mexico edition area. This page is a strategy guide for the SEGA Saturn game Eve Burst Error. It appears to be a walkthrough for events happening on December 5th within the game, split into two perspectives, one for the character Marina Hojo and the other for Kojiro Amaji. For Marina's story, it starts with a phone call at home, then moves to school and the dining hall, mentioning encounters with characters and finding clues like bloodstains and original paintings. The steps detail interactions and investigations at various locations, including a library, apartment rooms, and the president's office. Kojiro's story also starts on December 5th, beginning at the office and progressing through locations such as the president's office, rooftop, and library. The walkthrough details actions like choosing commands, encountering characters like Purin and Aqua, and investigating locations like a sauna and shop bar. The page also highlights system flag sections for both Kojiro and Marina's sides, indicating key points for unlocking or progressing storylines. These sections seem to offer guidance on how to trigger specific events by performing actions like talking to characters, checking phones, or visiting certain locations. Overall, this page provides a detailed walkthrough for Eve Burst Error, focusing on a specific in-game date, guiding players through the branching storylines of Marina and Kojiro, with step-by-step instructions and visual aids. On December 6th, in Eve Burst Error, Marina's storyline involves investigating the president's disappearance, starting with a phone call and progressing through several locations, including the security office, girls' restroom, and audience hall, uncovering clues and encountering other characters. Kojiro's path begins with his release as a decoy and includes interactions with Yayoi, Kobayakawa, and Masugi, involving surveillance, database retrieval, and suspicious discoveries in the headquarters building and basement. Both characters' stories interweave through various locations and events, including the investigation of unnatural elements. The guide progresses through events in hotel lobbies, rooms, boats, and dreams, featuring characters like Deep, Purin, and Gren, and ultimately builds towards a climactic confrontation in the Demon Building and a joint journey to Tristan Island. Mastering aerial combos in Die Hard Arcade involves launching enemies and extending attacks while they're airborne, influenced by their float time. Timing is crucial. Practice launching with single punches, kicks, PK, to learn follow-up attacks. Essential launch techniques include dash upper and back throws. Recommended combos include chaining dash upper, PPPK into an upper jump, jump pork into a sliding kick, and screen edge combos.
Combos may be easier in two-player mode.
Other techniques covered: iron pipe combos, Cindy's infinite groin strike combo, and cooperative combos using a machine gun to launch enemies. A defensive somersault kick into a spinning attack is also provided for evasion. This page from the Die Hard Arcade Guide details advanced techniques. It covers continuous dash uppercuts, weapon juggling, and the importance of timing for powerful moves. It suggests using single attacks as combo transitions and practicing against the boss in opponent battle mode, noting differences in 2P mode restrictions. The graduation exam challenges players to beat the game with 4 credits and master specific combo moves for Cindy. The page concludes with congratulations from the instructors, acknowledging mastery of basic techniques and encouraging players to pursue advanced strategies and enjoy the game, crediting the Dynamite Detective Strategy staff. This page dives into the strategy format for King of Fighters 96, which is starting a series of articles in the magazine. This first part explains how the strategy guides will be structured for players of all levels, from beginner to advanced arcade players. It starts with visually understanding character abilities by looking at their stats, which are explained as operability being how easy they are to use, reach for normal attack range, air opposition for air combat ability, and 2-hit for 2-hit combo damage. These stats help you quickly grasp a character's strengths. The guide then moves on to understanding the nuances of each character's moves, highlighting that knowing the strengths, weaknesses, and unique qualities of their special moves is key. It specifically mentions the importance of guard direction and two-hit combos.
Next, it emphasizes learning basic attack patterns and mastering fundamental offensive strategies.
This leads into understanding battle techniques, suggesting you use these attack patterns to create openings and read your opponent. The page also covers combos, noting that understanding and utilizing combos, especially high-damage ones, is essential. Finally, for beginners in versus play, the guide introduces essential techniques, focusing on cancel techniques. It breaks down 3 types of cancels: normal cancel, air cancel, and hyper cancel, visually demonstrating each with image sequences and explaining how they work and their advantages in combat, showing examples of canceling normal moves into special moves for extended combos and offensive pressure. This guide focuses on Iori Yagami in King of Fighters 96, portraying him as a versatile character, adept at both offense and defense. Iori excels at controlling space, with strong jumping attacks and special moves, rewarding players who understand their applications. The guide recommends utilizing light attacks for poking, jump attacks for offense, and the flying kick and blossom flower for pressure and combos. Special moves like 108 styles dark thrust for zoning, 100 styles Oni fire for anti-air, blossom flower for combos and pressure, and dream moon for reversals are crucial. Against defensive opponents, throws and mix-ups are recommended. Advanced tactics in the Adult Iori lecture section detail how to effectively combo with blossom flower, adapting strategies based on opponent movement after guarding. The guide concludes with combo examples centered on blossom flower as a core offensive tool.
Former SEGA Saturn magazine editor-in-chief, Keijiro Ogami, Mr. Volume, is interviewed, discussing Sega's distribution strategies and his vision for the gaming industry. He recounts being a disruptive force, pushing for user-centric approaches, and criticizing the industry's closed nature. Ogami emphasizes the need to dismantle industry barriers and prioritize user needs, fairness, and transparency. He advocated for Sega to adopt a user-equals-God philosophy, critiquing the industry's frequent disregard for the consumer. He also highlights the Yugi Public Transaction Committee as a chance for Sega to lead by example. The interview explores themes of distribution, consumer rights, and market fairness, with supplementary definitions provided for key terms like exclusive band sales method and consumer equals user. Ultimately, Ogami is presented as a visionary championing radical changes within Sega to create a more equitable and user-focused gaming market. This page delves into the inner workings of Hudson Soft, under the bold headline, Industry Disturbance. The truth about Hudson now revealed. It seems to be an investigative piece, promising to uncover the reality behind this major game developer. We see a striking image of the Hudson building, complete with a clock tower and a Bomberman train, instantly recognizable symbols of the company. The article shines a spotlight on Takahashi Meijin, famously known for his incredible 16 button presses per second in games, and a national gaming icon. There are photos of him at Hudson, labeled as Famous Person Takahashi. The page also highlights an upcoming event, the Peach and Rabbit New Year Hudson event on January 15th, suggesting New Year celebrations hosted by the company. In another section titled Ichigaya Fraulein, we see a feature on Kana Mariako, seemingly a personality related to the magazine. The article mentions Bug, likely referring to the popular Saturn platformer Bug. There's also a cartoon strip referencing Takahashi Meijin and the Bug anime, showing how deeply ingrained he is in the gaming culture of the time. Overall, the page gives us a glimpse into Hudson Soft, its famous figurehead Takahashi Meijin, and some of their activities. This Capcom fan page encourages community engagement through various activities. Capcom-friendly club members are reminded to renew their memberships for early bird benefits. Teruko and Michi's Capcom Consultation Room, hosted by two PR ladies, answers fan questions. A weekly commemoration celebrates fan-submitted illustrations, with Big Push Room-themed artwork highlighted. The Cyberbots special feature showcases winning fan postcards for the Cyberbots Full Metal Madness illustration contest. Finally, a notice from the editorial department announces HeroCap enhancements, a Q&A with Capcom's PR team, and a giveaway of Capcom's secret files. The page fosters interaction through art, Q&A, and club membership, promoting Capcom and its games. This page announces the launch of the Capcom Arcade Corner, direct from Capcom's Osaka headquarters, promising fresh news each time. This corner is timed to celebrate the nearing release of Street Fighter II-I,
catering to fans eagerly awaiting it and other arcade games. It features interviews with Capcom developers including general producer Noritaka Funamizu and producers Tetsuya Iijima and Tomoyuki Guhon. The interview covers various topics, from working on classic titles like King of Dragons and Knights of Valor to current projects. The developers discuss their approach to game creation, mentioning their current focus on large-scale arcade games and the challenges of balancing consumer and arcade versions. They touch upon research trips to America to understand player preferences, emphasizing making games that are both technically impressive and enjoyable. Street Fighter, Vampire Savior, Darkstalkers 3, and Street Fighter Alpha 3 are specifically named as titles they are working on. They also mention Battle Circuit as a 4-player belt-scrolling action game they want people to pay attention to. Finally, the page introduces the AM publicity staff, Hirotoku Ojima and Michio Aoki, who are responsible for arcade game promotion. They express their enthusiasm for connecting with users and sharing Capcom arcade game information. A screenshot from what appears to be Vampire Savior, Darkstalkers 3, is featured, and the next issue is teased to have a special report on the AOU show in February, promising more details about Vampire Savior's spring release. This page is packed with Elf Company news and merchandise, starting with Tama's Mutterings. It's a little blog section where Tama talks about Setsubun bean throwing at Elf and mentions they're busy developing a new game, hinting at a development screen that looks exciting. Then there's a big announcement of new Classmate series goods, specifically Classmate 2. They've got ceramic mugs featuring the girls from Classmate 2 Mai, Raiko, Ruriko, and Yui, with different designs on each mug. They also have color light figures for Classmate 2, which light up, featuring the same heroines, and they're described as emitting light. Moving on, they mention the Classmate 2 school uniform mugs are almost sold out, emphasizing their official and high-quality nature, and you're encouraged to call user support if you have any questions. There's also an Elf bulletin board with messages from staff, sounding like they're working hard and thanking customers. Lastly, there's an ad from Metal Eye, warning that it's for ages 18 and up due to mature content, promising a substantial volume of adult scenes. Metal Eye is described as an elf RPG, set in a town in the mountains where the protagonist, Findiel Root, faces a destiny after turning 16. It talks about confronting parents' pasts and making decisions. They're running a competition to win Metal Eye telephone cards, asking for New Year's comments. The deadline for entries is February 20th. This page is titled, Welcome to Kadota EIHI World, and it's the third installment. It seems to be a reader submission corner featuring New Year's greeting cards picked by Kadota EIHI himself. He thanks everyone for sending in so many cards. The theme of the cards is clearly the Year of the Ox, as there are lots of cow motifs. We can see a variety of fan art styles and characters. One submission features a cute cat and cow drawing from Hokkaido. Another has a stylish girl with dark hair and a red bow, with comments praising the very good cow. There are also submissions with characters dressed in kimonos, some with cow ears or cow-patterned outfits. One reader mentions being a fan of Classmate 2 and Love Squared. Kadota EIHI gives comments and thanks to each submission. It looks like readers from various regions like Gifu, Kanagawa, Chiba, and Aichi are participating. At the bottom, it gives instructions on how to send in your own submissions to Kadota EIHI via SEGA Saturn Magazine, encouraging everyone to send in their postcards. It also teases that the next issue will feature a 4-panel manga about the protagonist's suffering school life. This page, titled The Subtle Relationship Between Games and Art, and subtitled Soaring Upwards Like an Angel, explores the idea that if levitation is a basic human desire, then games naturally try to fulfill it. It's the second installment in this series. The article discusses the moments players experience when playing games, especially the feeling of levitation. The writer reminisces about playing Dragon Quest II for the first time and being captivated by the sense of adventure. They then focus on the game Nights into Dreams, describing it as a game that provides this feeling of immediately. The writer talks about the joy of playing as Knights, the main character, and flying through the air, comparing it to diving in the Red Sea, experiencing freedom and floating. They mention the beautiful underwater visuals, and the sense of acrobatic flying being exhilarating. The page also contrasts this feeling with art, referencing the painting The Dream of Saint Ursula by Giotto, highlighting the shared theme of dreams and ethereal floating. The writer concludes by saying the games, like art, provide unique forms of enjoyment, especially the sensation of levitation. At the bottom, there's a section called Weekly Kadota EIHI Academy, with some text and a website URL. This page is the Last Pro Illustration Corner Volume 14 from SEGA AM3 Research, celebrating the column debut of AM3 Research's advertisement tower, Kato Shota. It's a Valentine's-themed edition, dedicated to fan art submissions for the Last Pro column. The page prominently features a call for illustrations related to Last Pro and AM3 Research games, encouraging readers to send in their artwork, including hand-drawn pieces. We can see examples of submitted fan art from various artists, with names like Ichigo Miruku, Nagi, Higuchi, Erika, and Kami Kazeto. Many of these illustrations seem to be inspired by Last Bronx, especially featuring Lisa from the game in a Valentine's Day context. Below the artwork, Kato Shota's AM3 Freaks section talks about receiving a lot of fan mail. He mentions an announcement planned for a previous event, but it seems they couldn't reveal a new title yet. Kato also mentions going to Roppongi and being approached by female fans. He teases the upcoming AOU show and reiterates the call for more fan art submissions for the illustration corner, stating that selected artworks will be used in the column, and he is looking forward to seeing more creative pieces from fans. This page is an interview with Yu Suzuki from AM2 Research, and it's all about the latest arcade developments, specifically Virtua Striker 2 and Scud Race. Suzuki-san is discussing how amazing the Model 3 hardware is and what it allows them to achieve. He highlights the significant graphical jump, especially in polygon count, compared to previous hardware, which is pushing visual fidelity to new heights. He talks about Scud Race, mentioning its twin-to-type gameplay for competitive multiplayer and how it's a step up from previous racing games. Then he dives into Virtua Striker 2, emphasizing the visual improvements and the target of around 500,000 polygons, which is incredible. He even touches upon Digital Dance Mix, another project they're working on. It sounds like he's really excited about showcasing these new titles, particularly at the upcoming AOU show, and is confident that the new games will impress players. He really emphasizes that Virtua Striker 2 on Model 3 will be visually stunning and a big leap forward. This page continues the conversation with Yu Suzuki from AM2 Research. But now the focus shifts to the Saturn version of Virtua Fighter 3. The interviewer asks about the progress and who's leading the project. Considering most teams are in a recharging phase, Suzuki explains that while technically the core of Virtua Fighter 3 is possible on Saturn, they are still figuring out the specifics like staffing and what to prioritize to ensure it's a great game and not just a simple port of the arcade version. He mentions the technical differences between the Model 3 arcade hardware and the Saturn, indicating they're considering how to best bring the VF3 experience to the home console. He also hints at a potential announcement around the AOU show. Moving on, the page highlights new Saturn projects from AM2 Research, announcing that there are already many new titles in development. They specifically showcase the Digital Dance Mix series, including a title called Digital Dance Mix Sarah and Pay. It's mentioned that the Digital Dance Mix series is in full swing, with Sarah and Payne already in production. Virtua Fighter 3 for Saturn is also mentioned again, noting that they are currently recruiting staff and aiming to reveal something soon, possibly footage from the arcade version for now at the AOU show. The page includes screenshots of Virtua Fighter 3 and Digital Dance Mix games, giving a visual glimpse of these upcoming titles. The Hong Kong JAMA Show report highlights the thriving otaku culture in Hong Kong, with areas like Kowloon filled with anime, manga, and game stores. Japanese culture, including series like Slam Dunk, is highly popular, particularly among young people. At the show, Sega's racing game Touring Car garnered attention, alongside games like Sega Kaiserstag and Virtua Fighter 3. The high cost of playing games, $30 Hong Kong dollars, was noted. The report also mentions the popularity of Japanese GAL games and UFO catchers in arcades. Japanese idol Noriko Sakai's popularity was also highlighted. Key booths included SNK, showcasing Neo Geo content, Capcom, with the visually impressive Street Fighter X, and Namco, promoting the highly anticipated Tekken 3, with a prohibition on screen photography hinting at its pre-release buzz. Hong Kong's gaming scene thrives, with Japanese games highly popular, especially in arcades featuring Astro City and Versus City cabinets. Expect skilled players and plays, costing about $5 HK.
Home console gaming, particularly for Saturn, is also prevalent, with titles like Virtua Cop 2 in demand. Direct imports from Japan are common. The report then examines Hong Kong's Dendon Town, similar to Akihabara, where pirated software, especially for Windows, is prevalent and cheap. Genuine software, however, is expensive. Fashion in Hong Kong is heavily influenced by Japan, with trends like Air Max 95s, tie-dyed pants, loose socks, and G-Shock watches being popular. The city also boasts DC brand shops and high school girls, with a keen sense of style, mirroring Japanese school uniform aesthetics. Finally, the page offers travel tips, praising Hong Kong's safe public transportation, especially the subway, and recommending nighttime ferry rides. Kowloon's Nathan Road is mentioned as a bustling tourist area. A reader giveaway is offered, featuring Hong Kong and AM2 merchandise. This page features the AM2 Secret Information Bureau, with news that Virtua Surf is getting a renewal in the next issue. From AM2 Network is featured, mentioning that the AOU show is coming soon and they're showing off Virtua Striker 2 footage. Talks about character goods, highlighting a cute Fighters Megamix bento box, and other merchandise like pins and keychains. There's a Q&A section addressing reader questions, including one about Fighters Megamix and why the character's muscles are less defined, another about UFO catcher prizes, and another about VF3 and Leon in the library. The AM2 gallery shows fan artwork of Lion Rafale from Virtua Fighter 3, Sarah from Fighters Megamix, Pi from Virtua Fighter, and Janet and Juliet from Fighters Megamix. Finally, there's a big recruitment section, advertising a t-shirt giveaway for readers who submit postcards. They are looking for illustrations and opinions on AM2 games for their AM2 Express Weekly section, and the winners will receive a special t-shirt. This page presents game reviews from 3 groups: Lady Users, Game Mania Group, and Guest Game Writers. They reviewed Batman Forever, the arcade game, and Kabuki Clash. Batman Forever received mixed reviews. Lady Users found it enjoyable with decent graphics and simple gameplay, scoring it a 7/10. Game Mania Group considered it okay with responsive controls and sound effects, giving it a 5/10. Guest Game Writers enjoyed its over-the-top presentation and gameplay, also scoring it a 7/10. Kabuki Clash, a digital novel adventure game, was also reviewed. Lady Users found it interesting with charming characters, scoring it a 5/10. Game Mania Group praised its humor and unique characters, giving it a 5/10. Guest Game Writers enjoyed its visual beauty and illustrations, recommending it for puzzle game fans, and awarding a score of 6/10. This page reviews several games. Starting at the top left is Daida na Ayairun, described as a fluffy love game, possibly a puzzle or adventure title, which received a score of 7.66. Female reviewers noted the story was warm and the system solid, highlighting interactive elements and the anime style, giving it an 8. The High Rollers Group focused on the thought-provoking ending and the interactive comic game format, describing it as enjoyable and scoring it a 7. Moving down, Puyo Puyo Sun is reviewed, with a focus on its color scheme. Reviewers felt it wasn't a major change from previous games, but still suitable for dedicated fans, scoring it a 7. Cleopatra Fortune is described as having a pleasant and fun feeling, being a Tetris-style puzzle game where you connect blocks, and was rated a 7. Finally, in the guest writers section, we have a review praising a digital anime comic game for its quality, stress relief, and appeal to anime fans, comparing it favorably to a previous game and awarding it an 8. Another review discusses Puyo Puyo, questioning if it's becoming too challenging, focusing on options and fan orientation. It mentions longtime players' perspectives, difficulty, and the new system, scoring it a 6. Lastly, a falling block puzzle game, described as initially simple but becoming overly complex with group and erase, and arrange and erase rules, including a mystery mode and a Saturn original mode, is surprisingly rated an 8, despite the complexity mentioned. This page reviews 4 games. Elevator Action Returns is lauded as a successful revival, praised for its gameplay, animations, and additions, with scores ranging from 7 to 8. WWF In Your House received mixed reviews, with critiques targeting its lack of realism and outdated mechanics,
resulting in scores of 4 and 5. Dream Square Akiko Hinagata, idle character software, was recommended for its interactive content and cridrom quality. Sega H's Fantasy Zone, a faithful port of the arcade classic, was highly praised for its improved sound and gameplay, earning a perfect score. The Secret Technique Corner highlights player-submitted cheats and tips for Saturn games. Heavenly Realm Fourth Revelation features a money-making exploit using the Saturn's clock to accumulate bank interest. For Fighters Megamix, a ring-out strategy involves using a weak character against a strong one and utilizing wall bounces. Overdrive and GTR advises using shortcuts to win tournaments, also mentioning a password for tournament mode. Another Fighters Megamix tip unlocks a hidden bear character, Kuma-chan, after playing the game at least 29 times and pressing X. In Grid Runner, a password unlocks race mode, and players can throw rocks using specific button combinations to knock out opponents. The page calls for more submissions and offers prizes, graded by Go-Go Girls levels. SEGA Saturn Magazine is holding a reader prize giveaway. 20 winners will receive a SEGA Saturn game. 5 winners will receive a Yellow Brick Road telecard promoting the puzzle game. Another 5 will win a Dai Undukai, perfect guide for the action game. 2 winners will get a pop set for Cleopatra Fortune, a tile-dropping puzzle game. 5 readers will win a Virtua Fighter Kids game down jacket, a popular item. Finally, 10 will win Steer August pins, modeled after the Electric Gun series. The next issue, number 2, releases February 14th and will cover grand prize awards and other content. A phone number is provided for inquiries. This page is all about the upcoming Sega Saturn game, Cho Aniki Bakuretsu Rantu Hen, which could be translated as Super Big Brothers, Explosive Brawling Chapter. It's likely a shooting game, as you can see a spaceship prominently displayed, alongside screenshots of in-game action. The text mentions Space Patrol Galaxy and Legend of the Galactic Heroines Yuna, possibly indicating the game's genre or thematic influences. There's also a humorous phrase that suggests the game might have a light-hearted or over-the-top feel. Overall, the page seems to be introducing this new and quirky shooting game for the Sega Saturn. This page is showcasing the upcoming Sega Saturn shooting game, Terra Diver, which is known in Japan as Tsukyugurentai. It highlights a key feature called NALS, or No Blind Spot All-Range Laser System, emphasizing its wide-ranging attack capabilities. The game is slated for release on February 7th, priced at 5,800 yen excluding tax. The page promotes it as an arcade-perfect port, boasting enhanced gameplay and original modes for the Sega Saturn. It mentions features like practice mode and a special listening mode, hinting at extra content beyond the arcade version. The game is compatible with the Sega multi-controller and analog devices, offering flexible control options. Character profiles are featured, categorized by ship types, power type, speed type, and balance type, showcasing pilots like Rika Kunimura, Rihito Uganbara, Kyosuke Shigeru, and Jao Otaki. The advert emphasizes the exhilarating shooting action, challenging scoring system, and immersive sound experience of Terra Diver, making it a must-have for Sega Saturn shooter fans. This page promotes real sound for the Sega Saturn. It seems to be highlighting the audio capabilities of the Sega Saturn, possibly in relation to games. Text. Sega Saturn translates to appearing on Sega Saturn or coming to Sega Saturn. The page appears to be a simple, stylized advertisement focusing on the audio aspect, likely in connection to the previously mentioned game Terra Diver or Sega Saturn games in general. It's a visually striking page with bold typography and a minimalist design, emphasizing real sound as a key feature or selling point for the Sega Saturn experience.